Hello, welcome back. More Smite 2 Founders Series, Swiss stage. Let's get some North America action cooking up. And Anthony Squared will be the ones to bring you the action. Malum and Trelli. And we got some skeletons, some spooky theme. It's October. There's Smite. What more could you possibly ask for, Trelli?
You could ask them to be in frame a little bit more. There we go. That
Could
was
ask him to
good.
be in frame and could also ask chat to make sure to use exclamation point access in the Twitch chat so they can play some Smite 2 themselves. So do that. Exclamation point access right now in the Twitch chat. You'll see some links pop up and a secret code. Follow all those steps, and you and some friends can be playing Smite 2 right now. Gets you access to the base edition of the game. So nothing crazy with the Founders Pack, but you get to try it out for yourself, try out some of these crazy Anubis builds we've been seeing, and we'll go from there and see how you like it. And speaking of the Anubis builds, Trelly, can you? I mean, I have to imagine NA is going to cook up even crazier stuff with this insane patch that came out a couple of days ago. But the Anubis has been striking. As we take a look at the bracket too, do you think Anubis is going to take over for North America?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of teams. What I've noticed personally, in my games, Umoja and Baron are in play, and there's a ton of healing, right? And this is kind of the same style where Lifesteal is here as well. As we do see some absolute banger matchups, as highlighted previously. The 0-1 matchups still look clean. The 1-0 matchups are going to be fantastic as well. This is what I've been waiting for, man, because this NA bracket looks like we're going to see some bangers. But anti-heal, not exactly prioritized by some of these guys, man. It takes a bit. You want to build your build. You want to get some key items online first. But turns out we may need to rush some anti-heal when you got gods like Anubis in the game.
Yeah, I'm looking for the same thing. Where's the Ruinous Ankh? Because you might need two or maybe even three right now, just so somebody's always around who has one in pocket. But that's been a big one. Not as much kind of emphasis on the teleporters as I'm anticipated to see, which I think kind of speaks volumes to it. It's been cool to see them be used, but we haven't seen many plays made around it yet. I know earlier JMac and Bobby, they were talking a lot about how the actual teleporters and lanes were being used by a lot of the players. So I'm excited to see sort of as the players get more accustomed to having all the different options to rotate the map at their disposal, what will they actually start to do and put to use?
I mean, it depends. Because if you're a guy like me, I'm going to use it to get to lane. And then I'm going to wish I didn't. And then wish I had it for the next time I get to lane. And then the next time I get to lane. So I do think there is some tech to be used there. But it depends on, are we going to be fighting on the left side of the map soon? Is our tier 3 tower still up? Are we going to, need to use the other teleporters across the map? There's a lot that you have to consider when using them. And for me, I'm kind of in the mindset of whenever it's up, I'm going to go in. And I think that's probably a waste of them, but it's also super fun.
Yeah, so we got kind of a lot to look at with that stuff too. And I think one thing that's been interesting to me as well is sort of what gods have been prioritized outside of the Anubis. I was expecting to see a little bit more of Nuwa not competitively banned this weekend and sort of just forgotten about. The Morrigan and Hecate have sort of been battling, it seems, for that 1 and 2 spot overall, but no real interest outside of them.
I'm a big Hecate believer, but honestly, the Morgan has fallen lower and lower on my priority threshold just because you can't have that ult up every single time you fight, especially if the enemy team knows that you're leaning heavily on your Morgan. Then they're just going to say, oh, the ult's down, let's go in. Or, oh, they just ulted, let's back up, wait for that transformation, things like that. Still can be played to great effect, but sometimes you might want something like the Nuwa. So I'm not one to figure out the strategies behind some of these gamers, but I think we might see maybe some more Nuwa in the NA possibly.
Well, one thing you are very good at calling, Trelly, is picks and bans. So let's start picks and bans for our very first set of the day and see how you do in game number 1. We've got Scrumptious versus Food Drive for Globe. Two teams that are both stacked, and Food Drive for Globe, I think, is one of the teams that has become the epitome of you will learn our names by the end of the Swiss bracket.
And that we have. You look at Scrumptious and you think that looks like a overwhelming force to try and overcome, but Food Drive for Globe has beaten some good teams in the past, so I'll be keeping my eye on them in this set. Anubis taken away, so we will not get to see the Lifesteal Demon break his way in. But, God, you were talking about the Morgan also gone. So Fenrir, of course, top of the priority list. But it's Bacchus and Odin, which is a disgusting top 2 to grab. Sure, you're giving up Fenrir, which kind of stinks. There's a lot of initiation there, beats, forcing, things like that. But Bacchus and Odin are scrappers, man. That is a great top 2 if you're Food Drive for Globe.
Fallow picked up the Odin last weekend as well, and I think left everybody impressed. So the flex potential around that is huge, and you take it away from Haddix. Odin's become one of Haddix's most, I would say, iconic picks of Smite 2. I think Haddix was even the person who was first grabbing the Odin and making people realize, oh, has that been in the game this whole time that way? And then all of a sudden, everybody was grabbing it. So we'll see how that does work out. But then the Loki, speaking of iconic picks, I've mentioned that Valo's been picking Loki no matter what competitive setting he was playing in Smite 1 or now Smite 2. So definitely comfort there. But all right, Charlie, now there's the Sasano. Tegvir has brought out the Sasano ADC before, but this is an ambitious draft from Food Drive, no?
That is, yeah. I mean, ambitious is a way to describe it. They're definitely taking away some of the threats because Loki and Susano are definitely two of the characters that you got to watch out for, and you don't want to hand over to Scrumptious, but you are giving up Mordred. That new card art looks incredible, by the way. Just thought I would mention that. And also Jingwei, which, if you look at it, not a very tanky front line, but there are ways to make this Scrumptious roster look extremely tanky, and it's not as if they're lacking that early game, which is kind of what Food Drive for Globe's whole draft is about, right? That Loki, that Susano, that Odin, that Bacchus, they just want to overpower you with, they're going to get some Sunders early, maybe. They're going to look for invades if possible, but they want to fight early game. Whereas Scrumptious, they're like, dude, we have Hecate, we have Jingwei, we are playing for level 20. That is what we want. We want 6 items. So I see what they're going for here. It's just, can you overwhelm them so much that Scrumptious doesn't get to level 20? Like, Scrumptious, bro? You know what team I'm talking about? That's scary stuff.
Scrumptious in particular. Look, Zapman. That's been the Zapman passive so far.
That's true.
In Smite 2, it's been even more exaggerated. This idea of, oh, where did Zapman go? We haven't seen him in the last few team fights. And then it's like, oh, Zapman's here. He's level 20 and everybody else is 17. How did that happen? And it's won Scrumptious a couple of games up to this point. So you have to kind of assume that Scrumptious would take that same approach.
Yeah, the Zap's a farm goblin. Always has been, always will be. He's going to say, hey, guys, I could rotate to that fight, but this invade looks really sick. This lane looks really sick, and I'm just trying to get to level 20. So we'll see if he's able to get there, but regardless, he's going to show up.
We'll see how the entirety of both these teams show up. It's heading to game number 1 between Scrumptious and Food Drive for Globe. And kind of a chill start to begin things off, so I can actually introduce us without things going crazy. Malum, Trelly, and Tristan bringing you the action for this one. I'm kind of disappointed, Trelly. I'm not going to lie to you. I was kind of looking forward to more crazy 5v5 invades. We got a couple of them last weekend. We saw that the other regions have been very into the 5v5 fighting in mid. But it looks like so far to start, NA's like, do we have to?
I mean, one thing that NA seems to have picked up on, though, is that Sunder being removed, right? Like, it's just all shells and a blink on the side of Scrumptious. We have seen a ton more Phantom Shell for sure. That is what the meta has sort of looked at. But the removing of Sunder in all these guys' roster definitely changes up how you want to play around objectives, definitely changes up how you want to play through the early game. Don't imagine too much invading, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. Just playing it safe, going for your own buffs. Once again, we called it. Tegvir back on that Susano ADC. But look at the starter. It's not the Bluestone this time. It's actually the Warrior's Axe, which means your clear is going to be abysmal.
There was a lot of talk about the Warrior's Axe and what it would actually bring. It was so sort of underperforming and nobody had an interest. Will the buffs be enough? We'll have to keep our eyes on it for sure. One thing the Sasano ADC brings, Trelly, is you can certainly kill the other ADC early on, but I think we even saw Tegvir bring out the Sasano against Zapman, get some solo kills, and then just absolutely get dominated in the farm department.
Right, and that's kind of the difference. Susano is not a god that you're picking to power farm, especially when you build Warrior's Axe. You're trying to just 1v1. That is your game plan. You want to own Zap before he gets late game, before he gets level 20. Dash in from Zap right as level 2 comes in. Does he have the damage to try and return? Looks like with enough healing, should be just fine. I do want to see these junglers get active, though, because, again, it's not as if they're clearing the wave quickly. So if you want to find some scrapping, if you want to find engagements, it likely will be off the back of Valo showing up. So pay attention to the Loki. Has a speed, has a red buff. Hasn't went over to duo yet, but you know he wants to.
Feels so strange seeing an Odin versus a Mordred in solo with all the Anubis that we saw this morning in EMEA. I was sort of looking forward to a bit of Goobus to get banned out, but plenty of games to go today. Fenrir lurking in that duo lane. Loki lurking in solo. Who's going to make that first move? Nog really taking their time in duo. Valo doesn't have a great opening for Mordred. Somebody's got to make the move. It's Valo. There's the damage. Haddock's taking a lot. The Phantom Shell, will it be enough? Enough autos are not going to be there. No kill onto Haddock's in the solo lane.
Wow, I mean, that Phantom Shell pays dividends. I definitely thought Karmic was about to bird bomb underneath the tower and say, I'm trading out for first blood, but we did see the leap right before that gank started, so does not happen. Haddox has plenty of regen as well, a lot of potions. Not a bad look. Again, I thought Valo would go left. It did seem, and still seems, like Zap and Wrong, you are pushed up to the tower line. It was Nog who started to look towards duo. No surprise that gank doesn't peter out because you're a tower line, man. There's no way to go for a gank there. So I think the jungler sort of swapped locations and things would have went well. Of course, Haddock's very close to dropping, but doesn't. Regardless, no first blood comes from it. And a lot of shells now on cooldown.
Brutalize out from Nog, did some damage to happen. Simply flopped away, it'll be all right. So that focus does continue. You know, one thing Scrumptious probably learned was how Tegvir will play on this Asana. We'll see the adaptations in real time. Mid lane, Shito in a lot of trouble. Spirit's gonna hit, and the Zephyr! Bang! First blood, and a clean shot there from Globe.
Man, that Phantom Shell will get you out of a lot of trouble, but not out of a Spirit of the 9 wins. Globe lands everything. It's big damage, and that's just hitting level 5 first, man. Speed of the clear, which Cuckoo has a ton of. Akate, if nothing else, has a fantastic late game, but that early, not so much. Haddock's unknowingly ulting into 2. Is he sure he wants to be here? He definitely gets the buff, though.
We'll take the 1v2 as well, seemingly not afraid, doing a lot to Karmic. Now the Heart Slash onto the Loki helps out too. With Nog here, Food Drive just got to back up. A lot of people look at Pursue the Weak, the second more popular form of that ultimate for Mordred, as being the best thing. But that Heart Slash, that first form for Mordred Trelly, it's pretty insane.
See, Malum, first of all, I appreciate you using the correct names, but let's be honest, the average Smite player is not going to do that. So I call it Big Boy ult and Baby ult. And a lot of times, I use Big Boy ult, and then I think, like, I scrap for a while, and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to use Baby ult, I'm going to get some healing, I'm going to get a root, it's going to be great. And then I've charged up too much energy, and I use the Big Boy ult again, and then I just look dumb because I miss, and I fly around in circles.
Yeah, a guy like Trelly's got no time for goo goo gagas.
Right, Haddox has, he's got time, man. He knows when he's using each individual ult, because they are good in different situations. Doesn't find the ult there, but does get the invade.
Ronnie almost dead. The ult's out for the response, and the Phantom Shell will survive the Typhoon from it and rocket jump right to safety. If you're wondering why there's so many Phantom Shells on your screen throughout the tournament today, well, there's part of the reason why. This runability is just insane. It's we talked about it, I think, last week in Trello, you and I, but it feels very much almost like how Racer would start to feel at times in Duel in Smite 1 if you need some Smite 1 references, and how strong Shell really can feel right now to turn an engagement.
Yeah, and the thing is, you even have an option in active items to get a very similar effect of Racer. You get that Phoenix Feather, and you can have that extra healing as well. That's why we've been talking so much about things like Anubis, man. Anti-heal stocks are going to be big. You know what? Invest now. Invest accordingly. If you're one of those players that's a cookie cutter build that you just try and use in every single game, first of all, we've all been there. We understand. But try and fit a Brawlers, a Divine, an Ankh, any one of those items into your build, because regardless if you're facing something like the Emoji of the Baron or the Anubis, you're going to get value somewhere. There is a ton of regen, healing, sustain to be had, which, of course, Phantom Shell does not count as, but that extra health bar is going to matter. So definitely keep that in mind if you're playing your games. Speaking of playing games, despite the fact that Scrumptious falls for first blood, they're still getting active. They still have that goal difference. And there's the beats down.
Nog not going to fully commit. The Spirit of the 9 wins did get forced in a panic at the jump in from the Fenrir. Nothing more burned. I think we were both looking, okay, Ragnarok on the way, but it's never really happened. But now you've got ultimate down. You've got beads down. Next time Cuckoo comes to lane, that's a pretty simple target, really.
That's what I'm saying. I really thought it was going to be like brutalize into grab, but probably smart. Nog wasn't really in the mood to go in for the ult immediately. He saw that Valo was close by. You don't want to get Loki ulted even with Ragnarok not letting you get stunned. The damage is still there. So I think getting the beads is certainly a win. We could just wait for Shinto to open the gates once again, and that could be a look. Something else to note. considering that big patch that came 2 days ago, CDR has been added to a lot of different items. So cooldown, much more applicable, much more applicable. Gem of Focus was that usual start for gods like Cuckoo, gods like Akate, and now we're seeing Book of Thoth come back. So just a different way to play. Sure, you're gonna have more intelligence later on, but not exactly coming out of the gate swinging. You know, you don't have as much damage as you once did. Haddix pursuing the weak. Does he get the read? He does find it.
Turns right in time, has Nog there. The jump in, Odin cage out. Will it save? Maybe not.
Bark.
Nope. Blink and a bite. And down goes Karmic.
Why did I say bark? It was definitely a bite.
It kind of threw me off a little bit. I thought about going wolf back, but I don't know. You stun locked me.
All right, first of all, if you woofed back at me, we would have got nothing done for the rest of the broadcast. I would have been laughing. But yeah, it was a bite is what it was. Beautiful play there from Nog to confirm the kill. And actually, it's the Jotun's revenge start for the Fenrir. So those cooldowns definitely procking off of things like the kill. No Teko Kagi. And hey, now Scrumptious is on the board. Already winning in gold, of course, but looking clean. Grabbing that kill. Ooh, a little bit of chase down. Valo forced to assassinate out of there. Wanted to get the invade, but did not want to stick after for the fight.
Did not. That's one thing with both Valo and Nog. I've mentioned this with Rap Milk as well. These sort of newer to the scene and on some big teams junglers, they're all playing so aggressive that it's impressive, because a lot of times when you see newer names like that in these super well-known lobbies, they can play a little more on the passive side, but that just hasn't been the approach, and I think it's kind of been working out for the best. But you know, we've been talking a lot about items given the most recent patch, and you see the difference in supports, Strelly, but the Hussar's wings for Ronnie is a bit more interesting. I don't think we've seen that for supports.
I mean, I love the Hussar's wings. It's just a selfish sprint, right? You could get Stampede. You could sprint your boys, but why would you do that when you can sprint yourself more often? And I love that mindset because, sure, Happens gone Mystical Mail. That's just full on, like, I want damage, I'm trying to be a little tankier, and I'm trying to do damage. But Wrong You wants to rotate around the map quickly and help his team. Batman, could you help? They had two shots that you see. Did you leave yourself at home?
You know, forget Zapman ages, Zapman shell, yeah?
I don't know, man. They had him, chose not to use them, did not expect that much damage, and now that damage is being used on the Fury.
No response from Scrumptious. Just, I mean, even if they were aware, nobody to get there in time. So Gold Fury, it's a food drive for Globe. Still no significant gold lead as we're up to 10 minutes and just 2-1. And really everything across the board, with maybe the exception being the level and a half lead that Tegvir has gained in duo lane. Nothing too significant standing out up to this point, which again speaks to food drive for Globe for me, Trelly, and their legitimacy.
Too legit to quit. You've told me that thousands of times, and
yeah.
even more.
That's my quote, really.
Yeah, I mean that's a Malum quote, very original. And considering the Gold Fury's down, we probably won't see any real fighting for the time being. Just chilling. I mean, Pyromancer coming up relatively soon. Could be where we see some aggression, but for now, sort of roaming around the map. And make no mistake, that early death on the Zapman, not that early, but still early. That means nothing to him, right? He's saying this is business as usual, man. I've been ganked thousands of times before level 10, and that's not going to phase me. Jingwei is all about enduring early hardships and just getting online. And this is one way to do it. Steal some farm from your jungler. Hey, you're level 10, I'm level 9. I'm going to take your back camps away, and I'm going to be better for it. Trust me, Zap's going to return the favor via damage and kills late game. But I mean, food drive for Globe, a team that is able to take the early hardships and transform that into aggression, right? There's a reason they're up right now, and it's because that Susano is stronger than Jingwei right now.
Breastplate and a Glad Shield for the Odin. So on those rotations, we'll have plenty tankiness and cooldown. The dual lane remaining to be the interest. Happen, jump away. Look at the jungles, both rotating over. Is there a commit? Doesn't seem that way. Valo stepping away. So still a lot of this teeter-totter pace, Trelly, which it seems like nobody wants to rush into anything. And you called it before, with the Gold Fury down, there's not a reason to be forcing stuff. It's really just the trade outs of the jungle. And maybe action mid. There's the assassinate. The spirit too. Shinto gone. Did get the response, but it just doesn't do enough. Nog will take the 1v2, bring back the Loki under the tower. The blink from Valo to get away. Nothing that Fenrir can do.
See, and again, you have 4 other shells on this team, and Aegis gets you out of that situation every single time. At some point, I get that it's nice to have the Sunder up more often. You're worried about the Odin cage, but I think you just stick with Wrong You or Zap and pick up Aegis, and it helps you out a ton. I am a believer in the shell, though. I get shell when I'm the only one having it on my team as a mid laner. It's just, that is one of those key moments where you might have preferred to just completely immune Spirit of the Nine Winds, teleport out, and you find no other struggles in your life. But that's not going to be the case. This time, Valo picks up first kill of the Loki's game, I should say. I'm still got my eyes on the Pyromancer, though, Malum. That's probably where we see the next engagement. Gold Fury's on a similar spawn timer, but considering there's a Cuckoo nearby, has plenty of damage, has plenty of farm, it wouldn't be that difficult to go for an immediate pull.
Waiting for that pull, some time to set the stage for later in the game. Can that Susano keep up with that Jingwei once all the items come online? I know that was something Inbound was talking a lot about. All that thought, Shinto is in trouble, but no, it just happened. But back away from Globe.
It's got damage. Not built, just naturally. That's just Bacchus. When he shows up, he's ready to do that kind of DPS. Queen Naga sort of bounced back and forth at the moment. No team really wants to commit to it. They're just kind of seeing what'll happen. Won't stay leashed for long. You can see Food Driver Globe is here. They're ready to fight. They're just going to try and steal finally the rotation.
Team fights for Naga are rare, but let's do it regardless. The Ragnarok early. The first death might just be that Bacchus, but he still has not died. The fight will split into one low, one high. Zapman cleans up the low, and Tegvir handles the high, so they trade out 1 for 1 on each team, and both teams can now go their separate way. All that to just trade 1 for 1 after the Naga.
I mean, you could see Haddix thought he had backup. He had 2 1 HP targets there. And unfortunately, Nog was in the back line. He was in his own back line, I should say. He was not diving with Haddix. He was just trying to confirm 1 kill. Globe does not have the ultimate, does have a NATO to try and go for the steal, but Pyromancer started up. Wrong you. Playing zone duty. Do you have the damage? I think you do.
Lots of damage. The autos from Ymir help too, but Shinto says, I got it with the spell leader. Down goes Globe. Pyro dropped, but plus to Scrumptious. Not the cleanest end of the Pyro, but it goes their way regardless. Still no significant gold lead though. It's still close. It's no more than a 300 gold difference one way or the other the entirety of this game, and we're 15 minutes in now. And the kills, not much different, just the 1. It does take me back to my question before all the chaos, Trelly, because looking at late game, Inbound was making a big point of what Jingwei brings. Can Tegvir on the Susano answer Zapman late game, or is it just a race to keep the Jingwei out?
No, absolutely not. I think, that, again, the Food Driver Globe did the exact right thing. Surely Haddix doesn't find a solo kill here. I can't imagine. Even hitting the ult, you're able to kill, but you are going to do some good damage. Regardless, no, there's just no way, man. Jingwei is ridiculous once you get to level 20. One of the best guys in the game for sure. I think Tegvir did exactly what he needed to in pressuring Zapman when he could, because it's going to get to the point where those crits reign true and there's no coming back from it. But it's not as if we're at that point. In fact, we're far from it. Zapman has 2 items to his name. Food Driver Globe has plenty of time to keep that presence on, keep that gas cooking. Something else to bring up, the Pyromancer sound design is incredible. Man, anytime you hear that thing go down, listen closely because it sounds so intimidating. The Runic Bomb, the beautiful teleport there from Tegvir, becomes so much more rewarding just listening to that noise. I feel way more powerful now when the Pyromancer gets done. So just listen out for it because it is great.
Not considering if there's options to be aggressive under that tier 1 and duo, and the options say yes. The Ragnarok out, the damage on to happen there, still half though. The attention turns to Susano. Typhoon already used. Still no kill onto the Susano either. Somebody's gotta kill somebody, surely. Only thing down to this point is a tower. But a massive Hecate ultimate sets up for Zapman to clean it up with the double kill. And Scrumptious bide their time, and boy, does it work out.
Wow, Shinto finds that beautiful open the gate, pulls the double. It didn't seem like that was going very well. I thought Haddox might have fell down until Shinto said, I've got damage now. I have Soul Reaver, and now it's time for Gold Fury as Scrumptious tries to push that gold even further. Yeah, Karmic goes back to base. No one from Food Driver Globe will step up, and that's a handed fight over towards Scrumptious off the back of this mid laner. Didn't get credit for the kills. Both of those went to Zapman, but all the heavy lifting was done by Shinto.
And funny enough, you saying that is exactly the point you were making, where it's you gotta keep the Jingwei from getting into the game, and you were kind of doing that up to this point. Food Drive had kept Zapman behind Tegvir, but Shinto, who is ahead of Globe, showing up and basically spoon-feeding that double kill to Zapman, has now put the Jingwei right on par with the Susano. You add on to that just the general gold lead that's popped up out of nowhere for Scrumptious, over 2K now, and between 15 minutes and 17.5 minutes, it's two completely different games.
Yeah, and the writing's been on the walls, though, Malum. You could see, again, Food Drive for Globe, they pull that first Gold Fury. They're looking decent. They have that first blood. But since then, Scrumptious gets Pyro. They're playing it slow. They go over, start fighting near Duo Lane. Guess where Duo Lane is close to? The Gold Fury. Scrumptious gets the first Gold Fury of the game. We might see a 1v1 between Zap and Tegvir. Didn't seem like Tegvir wanted to take it, though. Crit. I don't know how much damage you got, Zap, but looks like he's still not in the mood to go for the 1v1, especially because where's Valo? Can anyone stop this man's back? No. Gets out of trouble, and Nog does pick up that kill on to happen. You can see, though, Food Driver Globe is still trying to put Zap behind. That's the idea. Do not let this Jingwei get online, because if he does, it's going to be a scary thought. Unfortunately for Happen, Mystical Mail into Pridwin does not have the beads. One pickup from Nog is able to get you that kill. There is no squad-wide purification available.
Still looking forward in duo. Right back, but Tegvir's almost dead. Trying to get it. Now the crits, are they ringing true enough? No. Almost a 1v2. And if they don't back quick enough, Nog will find it. One gone.
No.
Valo stops the back. Nog sees the Loki. Target acquired.
Does he hit these? Oh, he missed.
Goes the wrong direction. Is that the escape for Valo now? On the way to the teleporter. Can't get it in time. You've got to focus on the run. Nothing else happening so far. There's the blink, the brutalize, the damage.
Oh, he got him.
The bark. The bite. Both good enough. Down goes Valo.
Man, I was so invested in the chase. I kind of wanted to see one more vanish just to get him out of there. Shinto sees Pyromancer's being done. Opens the gates. You get a pullback. No, but that will stop the Pyromancer from being pulled forward now. Zapman back in 3 seconds. Valo still gone for 30. I think Scrumptious could have went for a pull if Nog was on this side of the map, but he's not. He's over clearing duo lane, covering Zap's lane for the time being. Breastplate, Oni Hunter's Garb. This is a tanky Fenrir at the very least.
You can see it, the damage. I use that with very soft air quotes from Tegvir onto Nog. The Fenrir can just casually stroll away from that. Wow. You know, speaking of tankiness, a breastplate picked up by Tegvir in the Susano. I mean, how are you feeling about that? Because there is no ADC for Food Drive for Globe. Can they afford that breastplate on Susano?
I don't love it. I think that Zap dies a lot quicker if it's not there. But if you are Tegvir, you're worried after that fight. You're like, wait, I have breastplate, and those crits still hurt, man. Like, there is a lot of physical damage, especially coming from Haddox. You've got Nog as well. Then, of course, the Zap. Yeah, I think it may have been a necessary precaution, but it is slowing your DPS. Pyromancer being done. Let's see Valo's close by, but there's no steal potential here. Using the ultimate just to guarantee it, and there you hear that alarm, man. I love it so much.
Yeah, that's very like deep sea creature.
Yeah,
cool. That was sick.
And
yeah,
that
between the card arts and the sound effects, what a patch.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. We are really cooking. It makes you so hyped for Vegas because there's plenty of patch time from now to then to see even more updates. And it's Smite 2 is going to be in such a great spot. And considering now, already feels so cool. Can't wait to see these team fights break out because again, we already mentioned the fact that there's a lot of farming going on now. Nobody on the map has hit level 20. Getting closer and closer, and Zapman is playing smart. A veteran player understands, hey, I got dove twice already. There's a good to fair chance that Tegvir and Valo are going for part 3, and I'm just gonna head on back to base. You can sense the calm in the water.
The ADC senses were tingling. So Scrumptious maybe can look somewhere else, and they wait for the corner turn from Happen. Won't find more. So how long do Food Drive for Globe keep up this hunt for Zapman? Do they have to abandon it at a certain point, or for the rest of this game, are we going to see them just constantly try to pick out that Jingwei before they do anything else?
I mean, there's going to be a point where Zap can return more damage than can be dealt to him for sure. Deathbringer did just get finished up by Zapman, so we may have already arrived at that point. But remember, Zap's by himself. He's still in laning phase, so Wrong Yu's not there. Nog wasn't there. Once we see the whole team grouped up, it's going to be a different story. Gold Fury is a great time to do so. Food Drive for Globe is here, though.
But they're missing Cuckoo and Loki. And it looks like Scrumptious are aware. Good CC and damage on to happen will force the Bacchus away. That's going to be a concede of the Gold Fury. And even more gold in pocket for Scrumptious for the longest time. And the reason I was pointing it out was Food Drive for Globe were keeping things close with gold. We talked about the 200 difference. The swings of it around 400. Then, one big fight for Scrumptious, and it was 2K. Since then, no significant team fights, but you've grown it 2K further? That's the experience you keep talking about, Trelly. It's showing in farm.
Exactly. And again, Valo is spending a lot of time sitting over in duo lane trying to see if Zap will step up, while Nog is just farming. Like, he is just looking for any camp that's available. He's looking for invades. He feels unkillable, because so far he has been. Breastplate, Oni, Hunter's Garb is a lot of tank stats for a Fenrir, and he's just continuing that presence. Remember, Zapman will tell us the story. Is Fire Giant a possibility? Well, he's on the left side of the map right now, so probably not. But if we see that Jingwei path to the right, which guess what? Zap's flying right towards mid lane, we may see a Fire Giant pull in our near future.
Sasano in left. Jungle mid combo for Food Drive for Globe in the mid lane. Wrong you aware, lots of information being gathered for Scrumptious. They're using that. Kind of posturing right and middle and controlling this right side. They can set it up for a lot this way. The map play is clean. The information being shared is kind of more than plentiful so far, Trelly. Food Drive for Globe feel like they're now starting to struggle for information too, which that's kind of a spot you can't afford to be in when you're dealing with things like a tanky Fenrir who's jumping into your back line.
Well, Food Drive for Globe grouped up on the right side of the map. They took the bait. They saw Zap in mid. No pull just yet. Zapman once again flying over to right lane, so there will be a scrap. And as far as engage goes, remember, the blinks are on the junglers. Pay attention to Valo, pay attention to Nog. But more specifically, I think Karmic has we haven't talked about this Odin much at all. A big Odin cage is hard to find when there's 4 Phantom Shells on the other team. Maybe it can get forced out because Fire Giant starts up.
A lot of damage on to happen. Keep your eyes on Haddix too. Mordred's have been big at Fire Giant so far in the Swiss stage. Food Drive can't even get to the Fire Giant to make a contest happen. Scrumptious say, all right, let's maybe pull a fight then. And there goes Haddix, looking for happen through the wall. Can find it. The Bacchus should go down, but hasn't quite yet. Scrumptious need at least a pick from it. They will get it. No more Bacchus for the fight. That's the go button for Nog into the back line. Ragnarok will find the Cuckoo to beats in response. Still no additional picks. Haddix is low, has to reposition. Zapman's trying to find Globe. Is there a shot to be had? The airstrike off the mark. Now the CC, the pullback too, and Zapman went too deep. And Food Drive for Globe get one back.
I mean, what is Zap even doing there, man? Trying to 2v3. The health bars didn't seem that low, and without airstrike, in a whole heck of a lot of trouble. Nog still trying to chase out Valo, would need to connect with Brutalize, and looks like finally has given up the chase. No Fire Giant to be seen, but trading Zap for Happen, not exactly worthwhile here for Scrumptious. You don't really lose much because Fire Giant, Gold Fury not to be looked at, but Ancient Fury is going to be touching down here any second, and that's a lot more valuable if you're just trying to give up one of these objectives. The past 2 have went to Scrumptious, so Food Drive for Globe's gonna have to be on point. They've got a lot of vision on the right side of the map, but no real ward coverage towards that Ancient Fury pit. And Zapman can fly back in any second now. We're gonna see a full-on reset, but look at the relics, man. Scrumptious relics are kind of in the graveyard.
How's that going to affect their aggression on this fire? That's kind of the biggest question to remember as it is started up. Food Drive there first, but it's a bit of a light touch onto the fire so far. They do even let it go. They see Ymir kind of stuck out. There's the cage. That Ymir wall not going to be helpful this time, but Ronnie's tanking through so much damage. They can't even kill it. hi-rez with a nice response ultimate. This could turn the fight around for Scrumptious now that Shinto's close by. Spirit will find one. Yes, it will, but no, the damage isn't good enough. Scrumptious are the ones making it work.
Oh,
it's nothing for Food Drive for Glove, but Gray. Only one left standing, and the Ymir wall will block Karmic back. Scrumptious clean house.
Make no mistake, that was a Shinto diff. So much damage coming from the Hecate. I mean, don't get me wrong. hi-rez did a great job juking, living as long as he did. Wrong takes up so much damage. And look who's untouched. Look whose health bar has not changed. Shinto got to free cast that fight. By the way, that was off of Open the Gates, like missing entirely. It was just to get Wrong out of trouble. Used it as a teleporter. That was just the general abilities of Hecate coming into play. And Scrumptious gets Fire Giant on 4. Beautiful play there. Unfortunately for Zap, not gonna get it. But does it even matter? I think not. You got plenty of time to run up, grab the Ancient Fury, and start working on these Scrumptious. Something to note, Ancient Fury got a bit of a change in this patch. It's only going to be affecting those 3 tier 2 towers we see. And by the way, it doesn't completely shut down the towers anymore. It just slows them down, akin to an Emperor's Armor in the previous game. It's going to be very easy to grab those tier 2s, but not going to be affecting the actual Phoenixes, which ends up making Food Drive for Globe's defense a lot stronger. Plus, they've got Cuckoo and Loki. They've got some pretty decent clear. It's not going to be easy to try and grab these birds.
Let's dissect the actual team fight of Food Drive for Globe, because there was so much talk about what Tegvir needed to do this game on the Susano. Are you adjusting your game plan? Is your new target maybe trying to send the Susano for Shinto?
I think so at this point. Like, Zap has been dying, and that hasn't been an issue. It looks like Zap realized and is building into what seems to be a Berserker shield. But Shinto's just full damage, man, and he could certainly fall down. Once Open the Gates goes, the movement is gone. Somebody has to stop Shinto. The issue is, Nog has been doing a great job of just keeping everyone away. This Fenrir, extremely tanky, still threatening, 5-0-6, a part of almost every single kill this game. It's not going to be easy to get to Shinto. He's not just positioning fantastically. The tanks are keeping everyone away from him.
Coming up on 29 minutes. 13-7 and 13k gold for Scrumptious. It's a gold lead you can feel in the items as well. And Zapman having the benefit of going that Berserker shield to the point of you and Inbound from earlier, you basically get that Deathbringer and you're now just a killer on the map, so you can afford that extra tankiness. Maybe that'll be a difference maker, but the Hecate, I feel like Shinto, I think of Shinto and I think of Theeks, probably, when I think of Hecates that made me true believers of what the character could do and sort of how you could position with such long range abilities.
It's all about how your tanks play, I think, and that's the thing. Happen has been trying to frontline as best as he can, but is, you know, always fearful of getting picked up, always fearful of the CC, always fearful of Shinto's damage. Whereas Rogyu, I mean, think about how that fight started. Rogyu gets caged, gets flopped, gets knocked up again by Tegvir, lives through all of it with like 30% HP still. It is a night and day difference. Happen cannot stand at the front of the fight the way that Rongyu can. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that hi-rez has been on point. Finding those pursue the weaks through the wall. Always hitting some clear targets that need to be grabbed. One more tier tower to go through, tier 2 tower to go through. And I wouldn't be surprised if hi-rez is already charging up, looking for other ult to try and find. This Mordred has been positioning flawlessly. And it's become very difficult to deal with your Food Drive below.
Mordred's definitely become my character, where when Fire Giants get started up, I kind of just watch that character, see where he's going. Then a Phoenix Siege, who's going to be that one to step up. Scrumptious are stepping into the Phoenix already. Zapman doing some damage on it. Wrong you with the freeze. Mez follows, but Happens still alive. Zapman will airstrike away, did get caught in that whirlwind, but the solo side Phoenix goes down.
Listen, Mel, we got 4 Phantom Shells and Zap's ulting out of the cage. Like, again, he was in the NATO, I get it, but I feel like...
It feels like people are treating it more like Aegis than actual Phantom Shell.
Right, that's my point. Like, surely 2 of those could have been Aegis's. You still have 2 Phantom Shells, and you're not going to get caught in the cage. I don't know. I get it. The Phantom Shells stacked on top of each other can be useful, but it seems like we're in a meta where nobody wants to use their shell because they fear everyone else is going to use their shell, and they're losing value because of it. Regardless, Right Bird did go down, thanks to the auto attacks from Zapman and the Queen Naga buff. Now, one more Ancient Fury for the road. This time, it actually will go towards the birds if Scrumptious is able to grab it. And that gold lead has hit that terrifying 20,000 point. And we are still at the point of the game where that matters. There's no 3K pots being purchased. There are still full items that need to be grabbed for Scrumptious.
Yeah, whereas empty slots.
Right, look at Food Drive for Globe. My man Happen has 2 items to his name. Like the beads, I guess, counts as one, but he's like, bro, I would love to get tankier. Looks like he's working on Ankh. Needs some anti-heal. There is plenty of tankiness still to be grabbed for Karmic and Happen, and they don't have it yet. So every bit of that gold lead matters. Scrumptious stepping forward. The Phoenixes are going to be attacking much slower, and Nog jumping forward because there's not any fear. Look at this tank.
So much damage onto Karmic, who does go for the retreat and might be able to get away, but it's a full committal. Ragnarok 2, they really want that Odin dead, and they'll do it. Wrong with the credit. And Scrumptious start off this fight pretty fantastic. Still grouped up in mid lane, finding more damage onto Happen, and the frontliners are gone for Food Drive for Globe.
Shinto had a beautiful ultimate there, but it looked like Wrong Used Wall actually stopped him from walking into it. Now Valo needs to find a key target. Zapman would be the one I'd go for, but he's playing it slow.
And you gotta go faster because you already lost your mid laner, and Scrumptious are ready to step into the throne room. Valo's still yet to hit the go button on this flank, and Scrumptious are ready to end the game. Finally, Valo's looking to go for it, but gets caught, gets bit, and is dead. Food Drive for Globe. Apathy was death this game. Scrumptious are gonna take it. What an end.
Wow, I mean, the Typhoon just now comes out. Assassinate didn't even get used. Unfortunate, man. I understand, believe me, a 2v5 is hard to try and come back from in that situation, but didn't even get a chance, man. Like I said, I think that's a tank diff. And add Nog to the mix because that Fenrir was also a tank. Shinto goes uncontested. Like, I believe had 2 deaths early on, but did not seem to matter as the game went off. I didn't see too many Spirit of the Nine wins coming through. The setup was not there. This team comp from Food Drive for Globe, I called it at like minute -2. It's all about snowball. It's all about getting ahead early. And if you can't hold on to that lead, late game belongs to Scrumptious.
It's so funny. All this new stuff. And last weekend, we kept talking about hybrid Fenrir in the jungle and how important it was. And of everything new, the Fenrir remains consistent and remains impactful. That's game number 1 over to Scrumptious. Still more to go. These are best of 3s in the Swiss stage. So we'll be right back with more between these 2 teams.
someone to save. I wanna tell you something new. You drove us both into a wall. I drive away into the night, and I contemplate for a while. Don't you think you wanna be for the best? If I pack my stuff and leave sooner than this. Don't you think you wanna be for the best? If I pack my stuff and leave sooner than this. Don't you wish I would've been someone else? I wanna feel your gap without making a mess at you. Oh, won't you tell me something new? I wanna tell you something new.
Hey, and welcome on back. My favorite intro, too, for game number 2 means game number 2 is going to be a great one. Still Malum, still Trelly to bring you some action. And, this action in Smite 2, it's been pretty great. So I definitely recommend trying it out yourself. So I've got a step-by-step process for you. Step
Okay.
1, exclamation point access in the Twitch chat, Trelly. You with me?
I'm so far.
That's
Yeah.
going to give you base access to Smite 2. Follow the code, follow the steps, your platform of choice. Play a game of Smite 2. Probably an arena, could do a conquest.
Okay.
Go crazy. 100 kills. Play a Loki. Don't get decision paralysis. Get a crazy ult. Kill everybody.
Got that.
Then say, wow, this is a fantastic game. I want even more out of it. Then grab yourself the Founders Edition of the game
Good
for
idea.
Smite 2. 3 different versions you can grab, and you can even buy one and then upgrade later the more you like it. Founders Edition will give you access to all the gods forever, basically. The God Pack from Smite number 1, plus Ascension passes, skins. There's really almost too much that you can grab from it, so it's definitely worth the pickup. So remember, step by step, access, exclamation point access, get in the game, do great, love the game, Founders Edition, you are good to go, and then maybe even consider competing in one of the open brackets. I think that's a pretty easy step by step, Charlie. Would you agree?
Yeah, I took the notes for you. Pretty much, it just says here, buy the Founders Edition profit. So I did got my pen for you.
Heard.
Thank you so much for that one.
I like the click.
And yeah, I
Bark.
clicked twice just to make sure everyone knew that I not only turned the pen on, but clicked it off as
Yeah,
well.
when he clicks his pen, it says bark too.
That's when you know I mean business. When my pen starts barking, we got some good Smite 2 on the way. And game number 2 should be just as good. Of course, again, we already mentioned this, but it seemed like Food Drive for Globe had a game plan going in that Scrumptious was not going to get to sea level 20. They're not going to get to late game. And Scrumptious said, we don't care about your plan. We simply will get online. Doesn't matter how your early game goes. We're going to get to that point.
I feel like we keep seeing Tegvir go these non-traditional routes a lot of the time in bigger games. And taking a look at those stats from game number 1, trying to sort of look at the positives, look at the minuses for both teams, but really look at the story. I feel like the early game was a story of, just like you said, a game plan that was maybe a little bit overthought almost from Food Drive. It seems like at times in their bigger matchups, I'm going all the way back to the weekend tournaments leading up to the Founder Series, where some of these teams weren't even put together yet. It feels like sometimes Food Drive just overdoes it a little bit and doesn't trust sort of the simple route they can take to things, like just picking a traditional ADC.
Right, and that's the thing. Make no mistake, Tegvir looks clean here. Goes 3-1, top damage on his team. I think it's well, but what we're not seeing is the fact that Scrumptious has a traditional auto attacker who can shred through tanky targets. Happen wasn't tanky, Karmic wasn't tanky. They died 1-5, 0-3. Whereas the tanks on the side of Scrumptious, Wrong Use 1-0-12, Haddix is 2-1-10, and throw Nog into the mix 5-0-10, because there's not a traditional auto attacker shredding them down. That's not Tegvir's job. When you're on a Susano, your job is to go to the backline, kill carries. And that's kind of the fall off of this composition, right? It makes Tegvir look good on the Susano, but the rest of the team's like, bro, if you had like auto attacks or like Kins or Deathbringer, maybe these tanks wouldn't run through us. Again, not saying it's his fault, but they need tank shred elsewhere if Tegbeer is going to do what he's doing. And it didn't seem like Globe really could survive the tank dive, right? He couldn't get his Soul Reaver procs off. He couldn't get that extra damage because the front line was ridiculous.
Yeah, so a sum of the whole for Food Drive for Globe. A lot of emphasis on the Anubis being banned in the previous game.
Yep.
As we get into picks and bans for game number 2, it becomes a question of, do you risk the Fenrir going back if you're Food Drive? And for Scrumptious, where do their priorities lie? And do they feel a little overconfident after game number 1 turning so decisive at that midway point?
That's the question. It looks like Ymir is going to be the takeaway here. So Rongu not going to be able to reprise that role. Do they grab the Morgan? That was a pan that was taken away last time. Or do you just take the Fenrir again? Honestly, I'm taking Fenrir. I can't imagine the Morgan is like that pressing of an issue. And Scrumptious does the correct call. We drive for Globe, though. Now they have the option. Do they grab something like Odin and the Morgan? Do they still grab that Bacchus Odin? Whatever it is, I assume Odin's in the mix. But I got to, real quick before the lock-in, Mordred going back to Haddock is a scary thought. I know that his Odin is also probably pretty scary, but I would try and take that away if I was Food Driver Globe. And it looks like they do not care. They're just going to go with the tried and true Bacchus Odin lock.
The Odin's been great, but I'm with you. There's something about Mordred right now. I mentioned how good he looks at Fire Giant pits, but just in general, from laning phase all the way to team fights, Mordred looks different. And this combination that we've seen a lot of the last few weeks, the new god combination, Hecate and Mordred as a pair, they are just frightening. But instead, Scrumptious grabs Susano. Now, this is a really interesting development because, I mean, they didn't need to take it away from Tegbeer. Like you said, didn't play bad by any means. But where is that Susano going?
It's possible that they are just trying to see if Tegbeer will play a traditional ADC, which, hey, there you go. Jingwei gets locked in, so certainly will and certainly can. But this tells me that it looks like Haddox might take the Fenrir into solo, or Rongu's taking it support. We'll have to see how the rest of this draft goes with Hecate and the Morrigan. Now my brain hurts, so I'm gonna wait for one more pick and then I will call my shot. But so far Shinto's taking Hecate, that much we know. Mordred
Morgan
gets
ADC.
Okay, so it looks like, okay, hold on. Yeah, Zap wants to play the Morgan, and then you give what? Rongu the Fenrir, and no, my brain still hurts. You switch to Malum. I'll think about it.
Okay. I'll do my best to think about it too. But remember, play-by-plays are always worse at knowing that stuff. That's our whole gig. But I'm going to go with, I like the Morgan ADC. Zapman's played a lot of it and is a pretty big fan of it. It has gotten some sort of indirect nerfs as we've gone further through the early life cycle of SMITE 2, but it can still compete, certainly.
Yep.
Susano and Fenrir, to me, are the most flexible, almost more so than the Mordred, because I think of Haddox, who's always sort of been this, not hidden, but there is a Susano there for Haddox that is definitely a tier above a lot of other players. So Scrumptious, I mean, if nothing else, they've opened up this entire draft to have plenty of options. Looking at Food Drive, though, because, we can't get too distracted from the plot, they ended out with the Cuckoo again.
Right. I'm thinking it's Fenrir Mori duo lane. You keep Susano in the jungle. And then, of course, just Mordred to Haddox, and Shinto takes the Hecate.
Right,
That's what I'm looking for. We'll have to see. We will
my
have
brain
to see.
hurts too.
The Morgan was the thing that threw me off, but I could see Zap taking it. Just wanting to have some fun. They won game number 1, and that's what I'm locking in. Now we have decided that. Doesn't mean it's true. Let's talk about, is this good? I don't love it, but the Morgan is the only thing that I'm really hovering on. The Fenrir support's great. We've already seen it can be tanky, can already be damage dealing. It can, set up for the squad. But with the nerfs you were referring to, I just feel like a traditional ADC is always going to be better. But I'm up to be proved wrong. This is a new patch. I haven't seen the Morgan ADC played on this patch. Again, that's assuming that that's where this goes. But I'm confident. I'm saying it is, and we're going to see Zap lock it in. And if he does, I don't like it. So there you go.
Could be a super ironic turn of events, though, if they force Tegbeer onto a traditional ADC and they perform better.
And then Zap goes the Morgan and just looks well. Yeah, it is certainly possible. And if not, I get no. There's no world where Zap takes a Kate. I'm not even gonna entertain
That would go
it.
crazy though.
Shinto's got a great the Morgan, but I'm not entertaining that idea until we see it in game. All right.
Well, let's stop guessing. Let's get in and let's figure it out right away. Let's head into game number 2 between Scrumptious and Food Drive for Globe.
Let's go.
Fenrir support, Morgan ADC, and Mordred solo with Sasano in the jungle. We had it. Malum, Trelly, and Doug to bring it to you. Everything on the other side, you know, boring, whatever, normal.
You
Relics,
snooze,
though, I see in Aegis. That's huge.
Yeah, Tegmir went Warrior Zac Susana, or Warrior Zac Susana. Warrior
I
Zac
haven't gotten there
Jingwei.
yet. I started left side and went down.
Yeah, okay, that makes fair. Well, I'm just saying, bro wants to be tanky. Clearly, that's his job here, and you know, wants
Guy
to go.
like you reads right to left.
Yeah, that makes sense. In this case, he's gonna have a little bit of extra prot on this Jingwei. Not my favorite again, but hey, if I've already roasted Zap, wait, hold on, hold that thought. Wait just a darn minute. What I was roasting was the auto attack crit Mori ADC, but Zap, he's just going int. All right, I can get behind this, man. I like this a lot better than auto attack strength crit. I like it. But something else to note, we got Sunders back. Both supports just decided to get Sunders.
We're over it. Happen gonna use one already and seals away the purple. Fenrir right to the opposite purple, so not too much harm done either way. The split supports has always created a pretty interesting process in the actual lane phase, but Fenrir going to be notably behind the Bacchus for the farm, still really tussling with the purple. You already used Sunder, or are you holding on to it? It's
No,
taking
I
for
think
a
yeah,
long time.
he wants to get speed, I think, so he held it. No one showed up, so he didn't have to force it, and that's the good combo there, right? As long as it doesn't get forced, you can just save it for another buff.
Where will it break out, though? Remember, we saw both jungles go opposite side lanes in game number 1 and look for a really early pick. We could see the same. Valo still in mid. Sasano right side of the map, but no full committal. The fight at that mid buff goes. Looks like it went to wrong you, so worked out keeping that Sunder forward. Good call, Trelly.
Vala once again getting the red and the speed early on. Immediately blinks out. Does not want any trouble. Unfortunately, that means your partner's getting the majority of that damage. But hey, you know, as far as a Mori Fenrir duo lane goes, holding their own quite well. You'd think Bacchus would be able to bring that pressure, but the AoE auto attack from the Morgan certainly works out. This is where I thought we would see wrong you head with the Sunder, but speed buff goes unchecked, not being looked at for now, and gets invaded by Nog. So at the very least it goes down, but it's not going to be the Fenrir support that takes it. Just going to be the Susana that makes sure that goes down. So hey, that does put Valo a little bit behind in that regard because both invaded. But slow paced early game so far. We've seen a bit of scrapping, but complete difference of the relics. That you know, this is a night and day
So
difference
different.
of relics, right? Like it was all blink or all blink shell, and now we're seeing beads back into the mix. We're seeing the actual Sunders come back for both supports. It's interesting that it happened for both of them. Both Wrong You and Happen realized they wanted it.
It's got the experimental phase of a scrim, but the stakes and competitiveness of the Founder Series. It's a fun combo. Could be a fun fight in duo with both junglers here. The point forward, lot on, but Tegvir's still alive. Happen the one in the most trouble. Nog not gonna find it. Zadman repositions. Nog does go back in, but it was too late in Jetstream. Not gonna tick down enough to find the first blood on to Happen. A couple misplays there. Drop first bloods really for both teams.
On it back now. I like that aggression. Unfortunately, the teleport in, just not enough to confirm the kill. So still not going to see that first blood. By the way, Haddix almost had a solo kill on the Karmic as well, so there's been a ton of presence. Unfortunately for Nog, there is no one coming this way, so you're going to have to just invade the backhands and get out of trouble. But at the very least, getting some extra farm online. Remember, right when Haddix ticks over to level 5, does have that big boy ultimate, Pursue the Weak, available. If anyone gets over on this side of the map, you're going to feel the brunt of Mordred's damage, as we have seen time and time again. Haddix also loves invading this blue buff. He ulted right through the wall last time 1v2'd. This time, his presence alone was enough to send Valo back to base. The invade looks like it's going to happen for free, but Karmic's nearby. Does he bird bomb to steal or just watch it go down? I think he's going to watch it go down.
And the big boy ult in response does miss and go wide. I feel like that ultimate is always going to be one of the funniest ones to see miss in the entirety of this game. I don't know what could take its place.
Nope, no, there's nothing. And at this point, I'm going to keep watching it happen. Totem. Something else that we haven't noticed is that, or we've obviously noticed, we haven't really brought too much attention to, is the totem's back. You know, taking over that war horn. I love the effect that it has. Looks real clean, and more scrapping to be done. Just prioritizing more farm over anything. If you are fighting inside of that little totem pit on the right side of the map, you take, I believe, 20% less damage. So just incentivizing, you know, brawling over in the solo lane. Always something that we love to see.
Totem still echoes with the chants of Totem of Coup from SWC.
I still hear that in my dreams, man.
I believe it completely. It'd be really hard not to. You just hear the distant sounds of the Jade Dragon's trumpets being played.
It's a beauty. It was a beauty. And you know what? The fans loved it. Maybe we'll have to make up a new chant for Vegas.
I was down for a Warhorn chant. Honestly, you could also go for those gold camps. They give so much gold. They deserve some fans too.
Haddox just used Pursue the Weak to ult through the tower and proxy the wave. Does he think he's getting rotated on? He didn't finish the wave. Okay, I was gonna say, like, there's still 3 minions back there that he's just running from. This is what I brought up.
There after is so funny.
Yeah, just watching. This is what I brought up, though. Hold that thought. Haddox going for the invade. We got Globe here. There's no one else, though. I was gonna say, like, will anyone rotate in? Haddox doesn't care. He's just farming uncontested. This dude, if he goes and just takes all the farm consistently and no one tries to stop this Mordred, who's level 8, by the way. Oh, this is just disgusting. He's just going unchecked.
Right to the mid lane, right to the Cuckoo. The up-down damage is real good. Spirit of the Nine Winds will not find a home, and Haddox will get the kill! Target acquired, target down. First blood for Scrumptious. Meanwhile, left side of the map, Ragnarok back to Sasano.
Oh.
That makes it 2 for the blue side.
Dude, I'm guessing Shinto already pulled the beads. But level 8 ulting underneath tier 1 tower with not a care in the world is insane. Like, think about this. Big boy ult through blue buff. Proxies a wave. Everyone sees him. They're well aware he's there. Takes back camps with Globe watching and contesting. And then follows him to mid lane. Ults him under mid lane. Kills him. Shakes it off. Continues to farm. I mean, that's just tough.
Nog, some trouble. Back up on the way in the form of Haddox. Pursue the Weak will catch 2. Get off my jungler. And Haddox has become a raid boss, and it's a real problem. Valo, barely alive, gets away from the mystical male procs. Haddox now in a new 1v2. Will there be any backup to come? Nog's already gone. Haddox might have sacrificed everything, but they're still fighting. The pull back in from Nog. The damage back on to Food Drive. Can they make this work? Oh. No! Food Drive for Globe stands tall in the 2v2.
They could not keep getting away with it, and I'm glad they were shut down, Mountain. They were playing with way too much of a chip on their shoulder. That is insane. Finally, Haddox gets killed. Deservingly so. Spent way too much time in the enemy jungle, and now Karmic's a growing problem. 1-0-1, has plenty of time to free farm. Unfortunately, Vertegvier gets caught out. Is there a dive? No, there is not. Airstrike gets used. And remember, that is wrong you on the Fenrir support. So there is still a jungler that could head over. That was ridiculous. I'm still baffled at how long Haddox lives there and how much damage he got away with doing.
A lot of posturing aggressively from Scrumptious on the left side. Both Rongyu and Zapman looking for the speed buff. They'll run into Avalo. Will the rebict had? Not quite. Happen is there. Zapman transforms. 1 puppy. Will there be 2 puppies? Yes, there will be. You're not getting out of those jaws, and Happen goes down.
Playing fetch with the boys is crazy. Just throwing back and forth. Happen. You don't have beads. You don't have a life. That Stone of Binding start is great, but I'm thinking Purification might be necessary. Double ult onto Nog. Doesn't look like he even took damage. So that's about as much damage as a camp will do to you. Do we see a Gold Fury pull after the wand engagement from Scrumptious? No. It's just going to be the Queen Naga being pulled for now. Agmir's nearby. No steal potential. So it looks like this one goes down for free. I do want to see a Gold Fury pull after you got the extra minions to tank for you. And it looks like they will do just that.
They're right there with you. Those Queen Naga minions can tank a lot. But Food Drive for Globe, the red side, they're aware. They got Happen nearby. There's the flop. It's been let go by Scrumptious. The re-engage. Will they still get it? Yes, they will. The Typhoon with the secure. Dangerous game, but it worked out perfectly well for Scrumptious.
Yep, remember Sunder was in play. Looks like Happen didn't have it up, so was not able to go for a steal. But that is something to talk about. Sunder also heavily nerfed. That's why we've been talking about, you know, the lack of Sunder, I should say. No longer doing that 100 true damage. That's been lowered to 500, which does make objective steals more contestable. Your traditional mages that have big burst damage, like these two. Shito unfortunately misses the burst damage, but not here to clean it up and take him down.
He's already dead.
He is already dead, but it didn't matter. You don't need to open the gates when you got Susano to clean up the dirty work. Point being, you know, your Kukulkans and your Hekates will be able to outburst the Sunder more often than not.
Tough game for Globe so far, and
Yep.
only 2 deaths, but both have just been so extravagant, you know? Like, it's gotta feel bad. I mean, Charlie, you play enough mid. You've been in this cuckoo shirt. I mean, I know a guy like you who doesn't, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I've never
you've been there
0-2,
enough.
you know, but, you know, I get it.
Does that go? No, it does go to Tegvir. That would have been a frustrating steal, and it feels like it's all starting to really stack on for Food Drive for Globe. So nice to get that one away. And I feel like we haven't had time to zoom out so far. 10 minutes, 3k gold, 2 kills for Scrumptious. But looking at builds, I did want to draw attention really the most to the ADC build from Tegvir and just kind of watching how it develops, starting with the Warrior's Axe, now into a Frenzy already.
Yep, and that's another one of those items. I've been talking about buffs. Call me the walking patch notes. Dagger of Frenzy also got a huge buff between 50 seconds on the cooldown to 30 seconds, which means you can use that dagger every chance you get. 1 pull, 2 pull, red pull, blue pull, coming back. But Valo lives, no problem there, even with the double pull. Does not find the kill. Once again, that's a ridiculous combo. I hope we see it successful one of these times.
Plenty of rhyming, not enough timing. Lucky enough for Valo, but that should have been a death. And, you know, you combine that with what we saw earlier from Scrumptious with the combination of the double Fenrir, and I feel like we already have an idea that Scrumptious is just trying to get a little fancy on those pulls. Because while it does look cool, there is so much actual benefit to it. And if they continue to do that in a big team fight, you could reposition an entire team to where you want them.
Yep, and you got many of options there. That's what Zapman comes in handy. You can get 2 Hekates, you can get 2 Fenrirs, or you could get a Morrigan ganking. Haddox, no healing in the cage, but does have Phantom Shell. Zap can't get in. Door
Haddox is still alive, and the Typhoon, the knockup, all the damage, and Karmic will not get the kill. Will instead see the world in black and white just to yell at the sky. That is so tough. It continues to be all these annoyances feeling that Food Drive for Globe keep running into. Everything seemingly is so frustrating that they've gone through this game.
Yep, and if you're Karmic, you can just blame your ADC, man. You're like, hey, Zap was here. Where was the missing call? Where was the teleport call? It didn't happen. It's wrong you. Just goes ahead and takes care of the tier 1 tower on left, make sure it doesn't go down, while his team grabs the tier 1 over on right. Gold Fury spawns in here shortly. Scrumptious just trying to take farm off the map. That's what they've been doing all set. Does not look like it'll stop anytime soon. But my goodness, wrong you just takes no damage. I see Topayuki's on to Tegvir. I do want to see that grouping on the left side of the map, but for now, looks like camping buffs. Scrumptious wants red, they want blue, and they are grouped to do so.
Food Drive for Globe. Have Karmic forward. There's a stun on Haddox. It looks like there might be an interest. You see how fast Loki's heading there. But the big boy ultimate will be enough for Haddox to reposition and get away safely. Scrumptious walking right to the left side after the chaos on right, pulling the Gold Fury before Food Drive is anywhere near them, and they just continue to run circles around Food Drive in terms of map presence. Will this be for free? The Bacchus, too far away. It is indeed free. Wrong you with the last hit, and now Happen in trouble. There's 1 dog. Don't even need 2. You're gone, indeed, to Nog.
I guess his 3rd kill of the game, not a bad look. Plenty of CC, plenty of lockdown on the side of Scrumptious, as we have seen time and time again. And like I mentioned earlier, hold that now. We got a little bit of damage coming through. Nog cannot finish the kill on the Globe. There's some chase down here.
The Assassinate finds a double stun. The blink forward cannot get them both away. They run into Tegvir, and Tegvir's got the shots, and Valo's got the dagger in the back. 2 kills for Food Drive, which they will certainly take as things are getting a little out of control.
We got a little bit of a cage here. Shinto teleports himself out of trouble, but the dive is good. Shinto needs to get some space between him and Karmic. We'll be able to get out scot-free. I mean, still a massive gold lead in favor of Scrumptious, but Food Drive, they're grouping up, man. They're finding their pulls, and Pyromancer is where they want to put their aggression next. Just now, get the pull down. And can anyone get here in time? Haddix is close, but will he go for the ult? Yes, he does.
Here he comes. Will they finish in time? They have not quite yet. Pyro does go to Food Drive. Haddix gets the damage, but gets a lot of damage sent right on back. Not quite the raid boss he was earlier on, and Food Drive make him pay for thinking he was.
Yeah, I think it looked like there was more follow-up there, but unfortunately the rest of the team could not show up. At the very least, grab a tier 1 tower, but that's what I'm talking about, man. Food Drive for Globe. They see where they can make their engagements. They see where they can fight back, and it's around when they have these stacked fights that are in their favor. It's not as if Scrumptious doesn't have a lead still, but they don't have a lead everywhere, right? When they have a lead when it's a 5v5, but when you get a pick and you go for Pyromancer, you've got time, man. You can find engagements to be able to come back into this. Valo has a lead in the jungle, 1 level lead over Nog. Karmic has been able to catch up very well, and it does seem like everyone else still at a bit of a deficit. Disruption
At that 15-minute mark, in game number 1, Scrumptious really took everything and just ran away. They're already at that point in terms of gold and itemization, which were our biggest talking points in game number 1. Food Drive for Globe, they've got to have some kind of positives, but when you look around the map, it's hard to zone in on the actual ones. I mean, you know, the proof is in the pudding, but the pudding cups aren't out.
You left your snack packs at home, unfortunately, so I'm not going to be able to get it.
Appreciate you going with that one.
I got you. I will always yes and when possible. Haddix has the left side of the map. That looks like tier 1 is what they're after, because Gold Fury not on the menu. And bro's just hiding in the grass. He wants to dive this tower. Is he going to go by himself? Or is he just going to sit here and wait for the opportunity to prevent himself? Do they chase with Pursue the Weak, though? No, it was just the tier 1 tower that Scrumptious was after. They'll be able to grab that one free of charge over on the left side of the map.
Look at the positions of Scrumptious. They are nearby that Fire Giant. They have no Zap Man, but Haddix will be there relatively soon. Happen was spotted out. It'll be tough to find a pick onto the Bacchus in the mid lane. Maybe an easy pick onto the Cuckoo. Haddix will not run it down all the way and open the gates. Won't get a touch. Too much movement speed for the Cuckoo. So no picks anywhere, but you can feel the calm before the storm, and you can definitely sense the desire of Scrumptious to pull that fire.
Yeah, they want to try and push this lead further, but it's not always simple. You already said Karmic very tanky. It seems like Haddix wants to try to go for a kill here. It's not going to come easy if it does, because Valo's on the way, but here comes the rest of Scrumptious. Can Nog even survive? No!
A lot of damage from Karmic. It does pay off. Now you've got the Loki here as well. The stun on the Zapman. The damage a bit too much. The Phantom Shell. Will that be there? Yes! Zapman gets away as the Fenrir. Now the real Fenrir finds it, but Happen finds Zapman. Food Drive trying to make something work under the tower, but they're getting traded around. But Happen with a double kill. Got the nice kill on Haddix. The Bacchus turning out to be the hero. Not what I really expected in that play, but it does set up Food Drive regardless. They have 3 dead right now with Scrumptious.
Shinto doesn't have an ultimate there, and here comes Food Drive for Globe. Already going for the pull there. Far strong, and already this Fire Giant's getting weak.
Wow, Karmic misjudged the damage Shinto could do. Open the gates, going to be used, not going to find a home. Fire down to 4,000, 2 in the pit, and those 2 are doing big numbers. That Fire Giant goes to Food Drive for Globe, and you can see the instant call for retreat. Will they all get away though? Happen caught by Nog, damage on, Typhoon out. Not going to do enough, maybe wrong, you can clean it up. Shinto will get it with the Spell Eater, so not a free Fire Giant. They do lose 1. But Food Drive in a much better spot than they were even 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, wow. Again, you got to give shouts out to Karmic, man. This Odin has been unkillable because of that stall, because of how long it took for the gank over in right lane. Even though Scrumptious teleported in, it seemed like they had the whole squad there. It was the Odin cage that stalled the rest of the squad to show up, and Valo got a big cage. Zapman stuck. No one knows it just yet. He's in the corner, finally. He's been spotted out, but it doesn't matter. Zap should be just fine. If anything, he's going in.
If I don't move, nobody will see me. If I turn the big dog, they'll all see you. Can they kill Karmic? Not a lot of follow-up is there. So the answer is no. Food Drive pulled the gold, but they can't full commit onto it. They've got to back away, and hi-rez is also lurking. This is a dangerous situation for Food Drive should they continue to push on.
For now, Fury just bounced back and forth. No team wants to go for the pull, but Food Drive in a much better spot to go for it. You don't consider the fact that Valo is on the right side of the map. Scrumptious doesn't know that just yet, so they're not stepping up. They're not finding an engagement. But it seems like Karmic's just going to jump in anyways, knowing that his jungler is gone. Take a little bit of damage, but no follow-up from the team. If anything, Food Drive for Globe standing tall here. But they have not went for that Fury. They're just sitting here stalling out their Fire Giant. I think Scrumptious is fine with this, right? I mean, you're just waiting for that Fire Giant cooldown to run out.
That feels like it's the experience pulling through. That you can have that kind of, all right, I mean, we're fine. We've got tier 1s up on the map. What are we afraid of? And that experience, that lack of fear, turns into a pyro pull on the right side for Scrumptious. Zapman will look for the steal on the left. Does have options. Can turn into the cuckoo if need be. Can just walk up and try to take it. The call, the walk up. He got it! Both objectives will go to Scrumptious. Zapman gets him again.
I mean, that's just it. I don't think Food Drive for Globe even saw him, right? But you gotta check. You need one person trying to zone at the very least. And Zap with the Dark Omen takes it away scot-free while the team gets the Pyromancer. They've got a Runic Bomb in pocket now. That one goes over to hi-rez. And like I said, the win here was supposed to be stalling out Fire Giant. It's now been 2 objectives after the fact. Scrumptious, I mean, they're entirely happy with this. Make it 3. Queen Naga also goes towards them. This is supposed to be Food Drive for Globe's time to push. And I'm not seeing pushing. I'm seeing heading back to base. Zap made up for his lazy back with that one. I'll give it to him.
Yeah, I can hear the pouting from Food Drive in the comms. You know, that was our Fire Giant. It just wasn't. It never was. The map has really, at this point in game 1 especially, but game 2, even when you think it could be Food Drive's, it's right back to being Scrumptious' playground. There's got to be some kind of reassessment of how Food Drive can approach this game, Trilly, but I can't lock down what that path back in might be.
At this point, grouping up in the jungle isn't a bad look. Food Drive for Globe finally decide to get aggressive with this Fire Giant. They're pushing up the left lane. I don't think Scrumptious is afraid to fight. They're just not really set up for it at the moment. hi-rez is on the right side of the map. Finally, Wrong You heading over to this side. Is the tier 2 even a possibility here? I don't think so. If anything, Scrumptious might try and fight here.
Scrumptious have positioned themselves to a flank of Food Drive as they stepped up. Now dogs are coming out. The damage going to be there. Will Karmic go down? A Spirit 2. hi-rez in the back line. Does find one. Happen real low. Zapman with a follow-up. Potentially no. Looks for Valo instead. Food Drive have one more chance to disengage. The cage is out from Karmic to help that out, but they want to re-engage, perhaps. Do they think this is an opportunity? On to Scrumptious. They open the gates. Will it bring anyone back? Not quite. So Food Drive still playing a dangerous game, but once again, going for the disengage.
Pinto doing so much damage, man. Happen almost got destroyed by that ultimate, but just not enough follow-up. So Scrumptious will have to hang their hats and give up on the chase for the time being. There was a ton of damage there, but unfortunately, these Ragnaroks have just been finding the tankier targets that are able to live after the fact. Like, bringing Karmic to your team is not netting in a kill anymore. Bringing Happen to your team can sometimes net in a kill, but that's just kind of what happens when you have beads on just about everyone else, or at least some form of CC immunity. This fight is stalled out so much so that Fire Giant is back up in 7 seconds. Remember, last one goes to Food Drive for Globe, but they didn't get much for it. If anything, there's still a lot of farming that needs to be done. Globe is 3 levels behind, has 3 items to his name, would love a Soul Reaver, but doesn't mind it. Already pulling Fire Giant, and Zapman's on the other side of the map.
Food Drive are trying to burn it, trying to establish themselves. Open the gates used. Sends Karmic back to the Fire Giant pit, where Scrumptious follow up. The Typhoon going to be out. Separates Food Drive off the fire. Tegvir does get it for Food Drive. How does the fight in the pit go? Because Scrumptious are looking real good. The damage real strong, and a double kill out for Nog. It's going to be even more. Zapman follows up. Shinto's locking down, and Food Drive get eviscerated at the Fire Giant. Once again, it was never even their fire to begin with.
Or alive here for Scrumptious, and they're not just looking for a tier 2 tower mountain. They've got plenty of time. It's up to Karmic to stall this game out. It could very easily be the Titan that they are after, but this owns Tanky and Globe up in 20 seconds. Half it up in 20 seconds. I think you just called a retreat. The end is too sketchy. They're going for it.
They're going. The cage is not up yet, and you got 10 seconds till you have help. The objective is survive for Karmic. The objective is stall.
There's no way. They're
both looking good, and Scrumptious will pull away. Globe and Happen up. It was just too risky. But Trelly, fire off of 4.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Karmic did a great job of stalling. That's all you can really do here. Karmic trying to chase down. Is there any chase potential? Maybe with the passive of Jingwei. Can Tegvir get to someone in time? Does not seem like it. Scrumptious, they would have loved to grab that Fire Giant, but they would love even more so to get out of trouble here. There is still a chase happening. Happen on the way. Tegvir getting close. But unless someone lazy backs, they should be able to get back to safety. And that is exactly what we will see. Pyromancer is the prize Food Drive for Globus after. It's only up the wrong you to go for a steal. He's got a Sunder. Could step up and go for it. Looks like he might try.
No way, surely.
No, he didn't.
Does not.
Didn't get it.
That's under off the mark for Scrumptious. Wow, that Fire Giant was a lot to take in. I respected the call from Food Drive, and I really respected they got it. I don't know about staying in the pit after and trying to force the fight.
Yeah, they didn't know Zap was that deep behind them. Zap had a great double stun into the mark, into the transformation, which is, tough to predict because he was not even on that side of the map when the fire got pulled, but the Morgan can be quick. That stealth movement speed is certainly going to help you out, and I think Zap was just in the right place at the right time. Ancient Fury's here. Scrumptious seem like they're the ones who are trying to get aggressive, and once again, you pick up a tank, and he's not going down.
Who will be the first down in the fight? Haddock takes one to the sky. It's Karmic, but not a lot of damage on. Happen now in trouble as well. Typhoons and a Shinto are too much for the Bacchus to stay alive. So support gone for Food Drive. They did send Cuckoo to the solo lane to get some farm. Has been notably behind Shinto in farm and itemization. So not there for the fight. So Ancient Fury now online for Scrumptious, and Food Drive for Globe remain licking wounds.
And I think Globe is playing this smart. He's on the right side of the map currently, dealing with fire minions and just trying to get online, just trying to get some harm, because this Cuckoo is a necessary damage dealer that has been largely mitigated by itemization. That Soul Reaver was just finished up. Polynomicon already online. Globe needs to hit level 20, and he needs to do it quickly. Sure, you give up Ancient Fury, but with Right Phoenix already down and only the effect on tier 2 towers, that would have been the Ancient Fury to give up if you're Food Drive for Globe, and they did so to sacrifice farm for their carries, and I think a necessary sacrifice to make. They just did not have the damage to kill some of these carries. Now, Scrumptious has still went with that same game plan. Ragnarok, pick up Karmic. Not once has it netted a kill. Like, you truthfully are not blowing up this Odin anytime soon. Not get the bad thing. It definitely opened up the engagement to find the kill on the Happen. Like, this Bacchus dies much quicker. But still, I feel like there's a better way to use Ragnarok. Regardless, it's working for Scrumptious, right? They got the win they were after. Maybe a 1v1 from Zapman. He just wants someone to show up in this duo lane. That has not been the case. No one heading over towards the Morgan. So Zap's just going to AFK until someone does, or he'll teleport over.
The sands of time are falling closer to 30 minutes, and Scrumptious seem to know exactly that. Continuing to be aggressive, just under that 10k gold lead mark. It feels like Food Drive are one bad fight away from losing, and because Scrumptious has just been so good in those fights, anyone is scary, even the little skirmishes. Just like this, but Trilly, there's got to be something for Food Drive. There's got to be an item, there's got to be some path into this, right?
I mean, the defense would be a great way to look at. Again, this Phoenix is not going to help out. The Ancient Fury effect is here. It fires very slowly. Very weak, reduced damage. Wrong you. Trying to bait out something with the up down. Does bait out Happens HP, that's for sure. Haddix wants to dive the back line. All the while, Karmic's doing the same, but no damage is coming from this.
And a big ultimate committed as well. Big 1v1 in the solo lane between Valo and Nog. Valo with the ult away. Does Link follow the pull back? The Typhoon! And Valo goes down. And Scrumptious take the opportunity to step up in the mid lane. And they blow up Tegvir. Scrumptious just know how to fight. Can Drive have a response? One good ultimate so far equals one dead Zapman. But that math ain't mathin' for this defense.
So far, still 4 strong. Our Scrump just trying to decide, do they go in for the bird or they play this one safe? Globe's got good wave clear, plenty of damage. Calling it off is the right call. But now food drive for Globe. They got to have someone constantly clearing fire minions, and they only have 3 alive. Unfortunately, Fire Giant's not here just yet, and you lost Zapman in the process. I think they can pull FG, but it's going to be a little bit slower. Tegvir can fly in 18 seconds, and Valo's also quite quick with the stealth, so probably not going to net much from those picks, but the tier 2 towers drop, and that's the big win that Scrumptious was after. Get some ward coverage down and look towards the FG. Pyromancer is also something Scrumptious have their eyes on.
This right side of the map has been the stressful side so far, and Scrumptious have seemingly loved to fight over here in Food Driver. Notably and understandably, every fight they seem a little bit... They teeter between timid and almost over-aggressive at times, Trulli. When they think they've got an advantage, they try to go, go, go. But it hasn't always been perfect. Scrumptious do posture aggressive, but I mean, is there a pick here, or are they just saying, all right, we wait?
I mean, so far they can just wait for the fire minions, but very close to FG. Food Drive for Globe can deal with those as they arrive. Unfortunately for Happen, has not been able to find the same level of farm that Wrong You has. Again, I talked about how he had 3 items a bit ago. Only has added 1 more to the mix and an upgraded starter. It's not easy to be a Bacchus when you're this far behind tank-wise. It's pretty much get a flop off, drop your Sunder, ult, and then just hope your team can clean up the rest. But it's Food Drive for Globe, playing aggressively here, getting some ward coverage down. Shinto has been the one that's been playing the poke game on to Happen. Just watch how much damage this Hakate can do to Happen as he steps forward. All the while, though, Nog just pushing up mid lane. I don't hate this idea. Try and spread Food Drive for Globe thin. They are strong when together, but if you can split them up, your engagement looks a lot better.
Polynomicon online for Globe, for the Cuckoo. Pretty big damage spike. Especially with how Globe has been playing it so far, kind of staying far back and almost letting people dive on. That could help a bit. Karmic jumps away from what could have been big damage there from Shinto. Scrumptious starting to step up.
1 engage is all it takes. It's been Wrong You more often than not. A Ragnarok gets sent out just to see what'll happen, but that man does find a stun in the back line. Oh, the Karmic finally some damage, but it's returned. Zap didn't even ult.
Too far forward, a lot of damage from the Typhoon and from Shinto, though. That might be enough to back away Food Drive. Happen, gonna be dead. Double kill for the Hakate. Somehow Zapman dying sets up Shinto for a double kill, and Food Drive will be backed away, but no ADC for Scrumptious, which does slow down the Fire Giant pull.
Fire Giant pull, yes. Remember, Wrong You's got a runic bomb. It could just be going for the bird. Stall this one out. You have fire minions pushing right. It's still Globe, though, who can destroy these minion waves effortlessly. Haddix just forward. The Phoenix has to be the target here.
The jump in from Wrong-You. Look at the damage on top of Tegvir. Wrong-You will secure with the Brutalize. This could go from fire to an end. Scrumptious just continuing to march through Food Dive for Globe. The last jump away from Karmic, and this is an end call from Scrumptious. Not going to be the easiest one in the world. You don't have as many minions. Karmic okay on the defense so far. Will this be enough? No, to call the back away, and Karmic goes forward with the cage to slow him down. You got a respawn from Happen now too. Shinto in a lot of trouble. Aegis out. Happen here. Open the gates. Will that save them? Not from Karmic. Shinto down. Food Drive for Globe. Hold on.
Can anyone find a pick here? Looks like Haddix is on the target. If anything, Food Drive for Globe is heading towards Fire Giant. Everyone's going to be back up soon. Tegvir in 18, Globe in 20 seconds, but it's only Shinto who's gone. You still have fire minions in right to deal with. An easy play to make because Zapman, remember, he didn't use much at all. Still has Blink, still has ult available. So I think this is just going to be a double down here. Food Drive for Globe has to head on back to base. Tegvir and Globe have spawned in. You got 30 seconds without Shinto, who is definitely the threat on the side of Scrumptious. He's the one who deleted Tekvir in that last engagement with pretty much just one ability. This Akate, man, 7, 1, and 6. So much damage, but it's gotta be Fire Giant. That is what is on Food Drive for Globe's mind. What can you do, though, if you're Scrumptious? You can push some minions in. With the birds down, it's not easy to make this call. Haddox immediately plays stall duty.
He finds two. One of them is Globe. Cuckoo's not tanky enough for all that, but a Spear of the Nine Winds is real good. And Globe will get one, and Valo gets the other. Instantly, two dead. Zapman gonna find Globe, though, with the blink, so no more Cuckoo. 2 for 1 so far. Fire still committed to by Food Drive. Maybe it's a Hail Mary. Maybe they need a miracle at this fight to turn it around. Zapman still aggressive. The fire still isn't dead. It will finally go down, but to who? To Food Drive. But they've lost Happen now as well. They've got to make this fight work if they want to win this game. But Shinto remains the denier for Food Drive with a big-time double kill. Karmic just has to get away now.
Karmic's got to stall. Valo had to go back to base to clear these fire minions. Can anyone catch this Odin? Some good damage, but Nog is looking weak. He doesn't want to step up too far. He doesn't want to take the damage, and it comes through, but there's another cage up, and now Valo's here to clean it up.
What an ultimate! The perfect timing off the cage, and the big-time double kill for the Loki to keep this game going.
Valo shows up, right place at the right time. The only one left on his team with Fire Giant. It's Scrumptious has to walk away, taking the small win of taking Fire Giant away from Food Drive for Globe. It's still there on the Valo, but can you even push when your respawns are so disjointed, when you still have a mid-Phoenix down? We are 35 minutes into this game, Malum, and it has not been clean. There has been overstays, some mess ups on both sides, but
bad ends.
Yeah, that was an overextension, a bad end call. They could have went for right side Phoenix. It was spawning up while they were hitting Titan, but they just split up a little bit too far, and they let Karmic find an important cage. This Odin has been playing lights out.
Pyro gold split. Charlie, I'm taking a risk. I'm finishing my water. I know it's risky 35 minutes in, but I gotta do what I gotta do.
I just drank my water as you said that.
We're taking a risk out here.
My voice needing it. Yeah, we've been getting loud.
Ancient Fury goes the way of Scrumptious. I like the split, or excuse me, to Food Drive. Scrumptious grabbed themselves the Pyro. 36 minutes in, lots of gold for both teams. Items finishing up. Happen will be probably the last one to get there. 3 gold Furies in total for Scrumptious. They have the full passive effects. Food Drive for Globe only have the one. Ancient Fury, by the way, Trilly mentioned this earlier, but if you're just tuning in, it is a different Ancient Fury. Not all structures are shut off. Matter of fact, no structures shut off anymore. It basically acts a lot like Emperor's Armor from Smite number 1, where the towers just do a little bit less, attack a little bit slower. Food Drive for Globe will have a lot of tools. Trilly, will this all come down to the Fire Giant or something else?
I mean, that's the question. Scrumptious seems to be grouping up as if they want to find an engagement here. Remember, it's Fire Giant on 1. It's just Valo, and that'll be running out in a bit. So it's not as if Food Drive for Globe have this massive lead. If anything, they're still behind because look, Tekvir, Happen, still missing full items. Haddox goes in. He wants to find a meaningful ultimate. Doesn't land immediately, but the Purification already down.
Perfect talisman. Odin cages out. Open the gates used as well. No, it was not. Yes, it was. Dude, there's so many circles this game. These fights are so crazy. Somebody's got to take advantage of ultimates down at this point, but both teams will step away for the time being.
But not find it. You'd think with that Purification down, wrong use job gets real easy, right? There's only one set of beads, and it's only onto Globe. So find someone that's not Globe, and you'll be just fine finding a pick here. But wrong you, I guess, just got caught in the cage, was not able to chase down the rest of the team. Still has Ragnarok available. No immediate targets. There are tier 2s aplenty for Scrumptious, whereas Food Drive for Globe finally have been able to get all their Phoenixes up. Had right bird down at one point. Mid Phoenix just now spawned back in, and that left bird has went untouched essentially all game. Nog wants to 1v1. Do you take it? Balance says yes, he wins that trade.
Wow, he wins that trade all the time, and a blink away to escape from wrong you. The last time we saw that, it worked out better for Scrumptious, but this time it's Valo pulling through. No Nog for 60 seconds. Fire will be up around the same time. So so Food Drive might have set themselves up in a decent spot.
I mean, late game, you can't be using one of your abilities as movement and trying to win a 1v1 in an even stay versus a jungler. Like, you can't 3 in and expect to win that trade, and Valo knew that all too well. The second that jet stream didn't actually hit him, just up, down, used Vanish and said, thanks for the kill, buddy. I'm getting on out of here. And now Food Drive for Globe should be set up to pull this Fire Giant on respawn. Nog won't be back for 24 seconds, and already trying to get aggressive. It's happened. Stepping forward, trying to get some vision, trying to get some ward coverage down. And Scrumptious staying at the tower line. They have the safety of tier 2 towers still. So they don't have to worry about anyone stepping forward. And now hi-rez walks into the trap.
But all the damage is on Valo, who is gone! A nice ult from hi-rez, but only so nice as Globe is able to take it out. We're trading already, a 1-for-1, and Nog has respawned. That was the chance for Food Drive. Zapman into Odin, gets stuck in the cage, gets to jump away, and it's all right for now. So the 1-for-1 remains the full breakout of the fight.
Already Nog trying to find some chase down here. Does
Blink
blink
pull.
in, gets the pull. Can he keep going? No, he's taking a lot of damage. He can't finish this at all. He's got to run.
Tegveer shows discipline, doesn't land to get the last auto. Would have died if he did. This game continues.
I mean, it sure does. This has been a brawl to end them all. The gold lead has been ever shrinking. Food Drive for Globe has been able to find their engagements. I mean, what Scrumptious needs is a banger ultimate from Shinto. Once Rongyu pulls that squad purification, Shinto has to open the gates. But Food Drive for Globe, just off the back of beautiful cages from Karmic and the slow but sure poke from Valo, has been able to find their own engagements. Pyromancer is up. And Food Drive for Globe, nowhere to be seen for the time being. Still have 3 in base, but no pull onto it just yet. Luckily, hi-rez is able to teleport back in, but remember, he doesn't have the energy for the big boy ultimate. Pursue the Weak cannot be used until he brawls a bit longer. He needs to stack up that energy.
It's been massive for Scrumptious. Rongyu in,
down,
grabs
there you go.
Happen, brings them back. Talisman gonna be forced. Happen gets away for the time being. A new opening, Scrumptious wanted. Rongyu dashes through, jumps away. Not a full commit. So Food Drive get away with it, but that's a TKO for a short time period of no Bacchus. Pyro pulled by Scrumptious, Food Drive aware, looking for some kind of steal. It was almost a decoy, but Pyro goes to Scrumptious.
Even now, again, those bees are down. This is exactly what Scrumptious has been waiting for. Now my eyes are on Shinto. One pull onto Happen, one pull onto Karmic. No one else usually has been getting hit, but those tanks being pulled back in could be the start of the fight that we're looking for. Something to note, though, Tegveer finally finished up that build. It Happen's gotten a lot tankier, too. Fire Giant started up. Valo all the way back at base. He might not be here if this DPS continues.
Here we go. Cages are out. Ultimates dropped. There's the ultimate from Shinto. Not going to find a lot. Only grabbed one, and it was Happen. Karmic, a little bit of poke, still alive. Another open the gates used. This one brings back Happen again. Now into the mouth of the Fenrir. Will there be a kill? Yes! Nog gets it, but Globe with the big-time response and a massive ultimate to kill Zapman. No more Morrigan for this fight, and both teams once again trade 1-for-1 and consider backing away. It continues.
Nog on the hunt, wants to find a pull. Tegveer would get deleted if he got close enough to this Susano. It's not going to happen. That was a huge ultimate for Globe, because if that does not come through, we're seeing a 5v4, probably Fire Giant pull in favor of Scrumptious. But you lost your ADC, who really isn't an ADC to begin with, but I digress. A lot of DPS that you're missing, which means Scrumptious dials it back. I mean, they listened to my call that they can't hear. You know, they got the pull, get the beats down, go for the open the gates. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't clean enough. And still, no Fire Giant being done. 42 minutes into this game, and Scrumptious cannot find the opening. It's been back and forth. Still, always in favor of Scrumptious gold-wise, but Food Drive for Globe has always been able to answer. It's been trade after trade.
We keep saying what teams are going to make improvements and make names for themselves, and Food Drive seemingly are trying to be that team. We've seen the improvement already game to game for Valo and Tegveer, and Karmic has been having an incredible game on the Odin. Your stage is set. You just got to finish it out, close it out on Scrumptious. But these aren't. This isn't a team you can simply close out against, Trelly, with these names.
You absolutely cannot. It has been pick after pick and always answered back. Scrumptious step up into the pit. They get their ward coverage. Where's the opening? Again, probably wrong you. Pull the beads, get out. That's what's been happening. But Shinto answers with a ton of poke. Wrong you. Immediately poked right back. Remember, Zapman once got extremely close to finding a kill and then got blown up before he was able to do anything. The Morgan since then has not been able to find the backline. Zap's just been playing safe, chilling with his team. I wonder if he will get over aggressive again and try and find a stealth into the back line. It is not easy without Blink, and you can see that's on an 85-second cooldown. Yeah, if you have to transform and then use your relic to get out of trouble, that's a lot of time that you're near a late game Cuckoo, a late game Jingwei, a late game Loki. So Zap is playing incredibly safe. It's still Haddix and Rongyu who are trying to find aggression, but Karmic is just so tanky, and he's usually the one they find aggression onto.
A lot of pick attempts have been on to happen, but it feels like it has to be that Odin almost. You would think it would be Globe or maybe Tegvir, but Karmic is just doing so much heavy lifting, and Scrumptious seem to know it in the dance around the fire giant continues. It's been a calm before the storm for 20 minutes at this point.
So far, just a dance. Gonna go in the favor of Food Drive for Globe because of how easy it is for Globe to find that pick. Missed the Ragnarok. That's unfortunate. Karmic just jumps over. That's a big win. But what can you find in the meantime? Can you find a cage? Can you find an engagement? Or are you just going to wait for Ragnarok to get back off cooldown? It's time for Food Drive for Globe to try and force the issue because they have the beats. And Pyromancer goes to Food Drive for Globe. There's already a Runic Bomb in Rongyu's pocket. Might as well put one in the pocket of Karmic. Now it's time to dial it back.
Oh, man. This
Dude,
is
when's Happen going to finish his build? He's making me angry. He's been sitting on tier 2.
The Soul Reaver was so expensive, it put everything behind.
No, he has the gold. He just hasn't went to base. I promise you he can finish that item. There's no way he hasn't
Shout out
picked
to
up
Screeching
just naturally.
Gargoyle, by the way, for Happen. You know, I know it's weird to talk about items at 45 minutes, but a silence on the Bacchus when they keep bringing you forward could be worth noting.
Yeah, I mean, it could. Or he could just sit there and not finish this third item.
Not use his gold.
I'm just saying, like, it's available. There's no way he's missing that gold. He's just choosing. If he leaves, they could even go in for Fire Giant. I understand that much, but not going to be the case for now. By the way, he's level 19. I need him to get to level 20 as well. I need
46 minutes.
I need the build and the levels to finish up here because I'm getting tired of it. And it's not happened yet. It happens just chilling around the Fire Giant. We've already died. Like, we've went in and out on how these fights will start. You're going to see an engagement from Rongyu. We're going to see an engagement from Karmic. That's all I'm expecting. Because of that, if you don't see any Ragnaroks coming through, you got time to go on back to base.
What a game up to this point. What a game for Food Drive as well so far. Even if they don't come through with the win in this one. Being in game 2, to not let it be easy for a team like Scrumptious in the Swiss stage with so many games left to go. It'd be big. Haddock sees Food Drive step up, gets some poke. Is this going to be a full commit?
Look at Nog. He's so deep in the back line. Can he find anything? I don't know. Fire Giant is a bait for now. Haddock has to ult out of trouble, and he will do just that. Finally, Susano. Can you find anything here? Nog is so deep. He just wants anyone to walk up. Is anyone the target here? He's got a trap.
Looks for Glow, but doesn't full commit. Realized how deep he actually was. He gets away. And once again, we're back at a decent point. Notably not backing. Or actually, Happen did back and finish up the item. Ruinous Onk. Not level 20, but he's got the item.
You got it. Not level 20, but did finish. That's some anti-heal, baby. It's been done. Finally, we can say that everyone has finished up their builds. I can tell you that I saw Rongyu buy an Elixir of Strength, which I know happens nowhere near, but there is at the very least 6 slotted on everyone for the time being. Rongyu just sitting here having a staring contest with fire. He just keeps looking at him every time he walks in. No pulls necessary. We are at a standstill, Malum. And if I had to guess, we're gonna be here for a while. There is still a Ragnarok that could be used. That cooldown got wasted a while ago and it's already back up. But no one feeling confident enough to pull the trigger on this one.
It says a lot about Food Drive for me that Scrumptious isn't playing this careless anymore. It feels like as the game's gone on, there's been that respect grown. Haddox and Wrong, you both in the bush. Food Drive won't run into danger quite yet. Same with Val lurking around.
It's just going to be whoever steps up first, man. We have such razor thin margins. If Happen wastes a beads, if Haddox doesn't get the perfect pursue of the week out of the Odin cage, if
Where does
Shinto
Spear
wastes
the 9 wins go?
Yeah, there are so many question marks that could decide an engagement. And at this point, if I'm Zap, I'm selling Gem of Focus, I'm picking up Poly, and I'm split pushing. I'm trying to do something to open up this game. Once again, Fire Giant started. It is a debate, probably, because that never ends up getting committed to. Hasn't been reset yet, but only at 9,000 HP. And honestly, Haddox taking a lot of damage.
Has to get away, turns around though, sees it as an engaged chance. No, changes their mind again. A lot of walls around the Fire Giant you can use to maneuver as the Mordred. Nog goes in aggressive just for some extra poke and finds a good bit onto Karmic. That's a big person to have poke on.
Certainly is, but at this point, already in the backline is...
Oh my god! You thought you could initiate on Globe? You thought! They're gonna find Haddox too! Food Drive are getting this game handed to them with those 2 picks. Nog, though, continues to be crisp, able to find Valo. Might need more. Scrumptious very spread thin. Zapman to the right, Nog to the left. Shinto working their way over.
Oh.
Zapman's almost dead, had to turn into Sasano. Karmic, though, can't win the 1v1 out with Nog. Nog is getting them one by one. A true cerebral assassin now has backup with Shinto. This is going to be the 2v to win the game, potentially. But Nog gets left alone and goes down to Tegbeer. Shinto, in no man's land, has to commit ultimates. Scrumptious has been picked apart, but it's taking so long to kill them all. But Globe gets it.
Globe gets it. It's up to Zapman. 3v1. Where does the Morgan go? Does not have ultimate, does not have blink. Understands that Fire Giant is likely the call. But can you step up? Can you do anything if you are the Morgan? For now, just hiding underneath the tower. Happen taking a lot of damage. Seems like Zap's call is to just chill. I mean, Rongu spawns in 5, Haddox up in 12. Mid Phoenix has gone down for Scrumptious. That's a small win in their favor. And Fire Giant has gone down. Finally. That's a dance of a lifetime. We are 51 minutes into this game. And Scrumptious, they've got an out, though. That mid Phoenix just dropped. They have the chance to end this game very easily if they're able to find a pick. But Food Drive for Globe, they haven't been in the position to really push yet with their Fire Giants. Grab an Ancient Fury, and that will go onto one of the Phoenixes for Scrumptious. Because guess what? They still have 2 tier 2 Titans available. Or tier 2 Titans, tier 2 towers available. It's been a long game. That the Ancient Fury is going to be taking, unfortunately.
If Food Drive can pull this off, what a win. Even if it would be to force a game 3. But what a confidence boost for them. And I think they might know that. It's got to be in the back of their heads, this team that's been trying so hard to prove to themselves. They've been around since the first tournament for SMITE 2. They entered it, and they performed really well. And they were this, hey, look at us team compared to the other rosters of well-known, proven caliber. And this is their chance to at least show that they can continue to fight and maybe take this set, but they've got to play it perfect on this siege.
Phoenix is the target, getting very low, has not dropped yet. If anything, has been defended. 1 auto attack, 1 poly shot, 1 anything would be enough to make this bird drop, and that's something Scrumptious is okay with. They want to win the fight. That's what they are looking for. Finally, Valo groups up with the squad. Gonna play this one slow. Keep your eyes on Karmix. He's likely gonna be the one that starts the engagement here for Food Drive.
Jump in from Wrong-U. The pullback with the Ragnarok. Will Karmic go down? Yes! And the ultimate from Globe doesn't find big damage. Scrumptious have an opportunity. They continue to deny Food Drive, this time at the Phoenix with a big double kill. But knocks up too far, got hit by the crits. Zapman will pull up Tegbeer back. It's a 3 for 2 so far. Globe still throwing, that's 3 dead. For Scrumptious, that's 4 dead. They're all gone. Food Drive for Globe with the deicide, and they've got a minion wave. Unfreaking real.
Valo hides in the jungle, finds his mark, and finally goes in. Globe's able to take this one up, go back and forth. You got 55 seconds to play with. This Titan is dropping, and we are going to a game 3. Go ahead and send the Spirit of the 9 wins, because that's the ability that made this game 3 possible. Globe was on point with those ultimates.
What are you? What are we? I mean, that was the exact fight Food Drive for Globe was clamoring for that game, and it felt like they were never gonna get it. There was always something, and of all the fights that could have gone well for Food Drive, it's the one where Odin gets caught.
Where Karmic finally dies. He's been picked up by that Ragnarok like 5 or 6 times, and that's the one where he finally dies, and they're like, "You fools! That's what we've been waiting for."
All right. We have a game 3 between Food Drive for Globe and Scrumptious. We need water. So do you. We meet back here soon. Game 3. Don't go anywhere.
1, 2, 3, break.
Welcome back, and thanks for hanging out. And man, what a game number 2. That forces us to a game number 3. Food Drive for Globe did not want to go down that easy to Scrumptious. Malum, Trelly, still with you. And if that game got you interested in Smite 2, because I mean, how could it not? Make sure you get in today. Exclamation point access in the chat right now. Follow those steps in the secret code. Get yourself in and try to recreate those performances because, I mean, how could you not want to after a game 2 like that?
Yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic battle between the mid laners. I loved seeing how Globe and Shinto were, trading their ultimates, showing how much damage they could do. The front line had to play so razor thin. When a game goes 55 minutes or something like that, everyone has to be playing on their A game to make sure.
65.
That is ridiculous.
All
That
right,
is-
Shinto.
Yeah, Shinto did 65,000 damage. So a little bit more than Globe, but still, the Globe's bullets were hitting as well. Like, it's not as if.
Yeah, and Shadow Karmic, 128,000 mitigated and 48,000 damage is kind of absurd. It really does show. We kept talking about it. Karmic dying felt like the end for Food Drive, and that was the opening to them winning the game somehow.
Right, and the one thing, watching back those clips, Tegveer pumped out some massive crits to make sure that Nog got shut down because that Susano was about to run through Globe, or at least attempt to. But the crit said, you don't get the chance. I'm going to 3-shot you, and then I'm going to die trying. But then Globe was able to blow up Zapman with the polyproc and keep chasing. So, I mean, absolute banger. You have to question, were there some moments leading up to that throw where either one of the teams could have ended that game in pre 40 minutes, pre 50 minutes, maybe. But the fact that it did go to 55 and Food Drive for Globe comes out on top might be crushing to the mentals of Scrumptious, honestly.
And might be uplifting for Food Drive. This team that has been wanting and trying so hard to consistently prove themselves all the way back to Worlds qualifiers. This team was trying to prove itself. The only difference being they had a different jungler, and Valo has shown up and proven to be just as effective with this squad, if not more cohesive as a unit than Rapnok was for Shabala Storm back then. Food Drive for Globe, at this point in my brain, have got to be taken seriously, and I think Scrumptious may agree, which as we get into picks and bans, Trelly, I think we're both looking for the same thing, a traditional ADC for Zapman.
Yep. If I see Zap on a Hunter, I think night and day difference. Again, Scrumptious was up massive lead in that game. It's something that me and you talked about between the break there, is the fact that if you are going to play the Morgan, you have to be confident. You have to be able to go to the back line, get those one shots, get your transformations, get out. Zap tried that a few times, did it once really well, did it once poorly where he didn't blink, didn't hold, didn't get out, and then he sort of lost confidence in himself and did not go for those wraparound plays any longer. And at that point, why do we have a Morgan on our team? Why are you not just on her or Cern or Neath, right? Like that's kind of what I saw. So I think a traditional ADC for Scrumptious would be the first step. But where do you go here in your bans? Bacchus going to be taken away here from Food Drive, or for Food Drive. They don't want anyone playing that pick. The Fenrir was something that Scrumptious was able to first pick last time. Did not net too much. Remember, it's been Bacchus, Odin. I wouldn't hate the Odin ban if I was Scrumptious here, but they have a lot on their mind to try and take away, and it looks like they don't hate it either. They will just take it away. That's the lesser of two evils at this point. Food Drive for Globe has to decide where they want to put their heads at for their first grab, but I don't know, man. Like, considering what we watched, wow, okay, they decided it's the Fenrir. I mean, Wrong, you had a great game, but it's, again, unless you don't go 5 shells, there's ways to deal with the Fenrir.
It does feel like the Fenrir is almost more of a remembrance of Game 1, where Nog went crazy on it for Scrumptious, and then in Game 2, it was a reactionary flex pick, as you and I were kind of looking at once we saw the Susano come out. It felt like it was almost there as a bait pick to throw Food Drive off their game during the draft phase. And now with it going to Food Drive, we have the same dilemma of, all right, well, where's it going? Scrumptious do answer with Ymir Jingwei. So Jingwei has been the contested ADC so far in this set. Tegveer with a great performance in Game 2, but Zapman had a pretty significant performance on that Jingwei in Game number 1. So definitely a character to watch as Food Drive now up with 2 picks and a lot of options.
Yeah, I like this top 2 a lot better. The Susano's another pick that's been back and forth between these squads, so Food Drive can certainly grab that if you're not looking to throw Valo on the Fenrir in the jungle, which, is yet to see, because we've seen Fenrir play a lot of different roles. But just grabbing the Jingwei immediately is something that I think Scrumptious needed to get on point with, because that's another pick that has been back and forth, looked good on Zap, and ended up looking very good for Tegvir in game number 2. But I'm thinking, like, dude, there's possibility for Ymir to go in multiple roles, but you're probably looking at support. Just throw it over to wrong use. You don't got to worry about it. But this is what I was wondering. Are you going to take the Hekate away from Shinto? Despite beating it, gave a lot of trouble to Food Drive, and they say, yes, Hekate, Susano, let's get those picks away from Scrumptious, and I think it's going to look pretty good.
Begs the question too, and I'm with you, because that Ymir, I feel like Wrong Yu's been picking the Ymir a lot. I think of Ymir and Bacchus have been the go-tos for Wrong Yu. The Fenrir kind of being sort of an outstanding pick, or a more interesting one at that. Haddix can also play Ymir, so you continue with your flex style of draft that Scrumptious have been doing. And with Food Drive's response, I don't hate it. I feel like the Loki was great for Valo, but I don't think it was leaps and bounds beyond the Susano. So perhaps taking that away from Nog and forcing out the Loki or the Thanatos could be the play. Does leave a lot, though. And I also worry for Food Drive's ADC selection, because same of what we talked about with Zapman applies to Food Drive for me. I want to see Tegvir on something more traditional.
Yeah, that's something that they're looking towards. Could just be like a Loki grab here for Scrumptious. I always love that pick. It's not great into Fenrir, but just about everyone else is going to be able to get value. But this is a pick that got banned away in game number 1. The Anubis is going to be locked in here for Scrumptious. Has the ability to go mid, has the ability to go over towards solo. Speaking of Chalk, has the ability to go solo, has the ability to go jungle. We'll have to see how that last pick goes before we lock in anything here for Scrumptious. But Food Drive, time to lock in. Is that Susano going into the ADC role? Are you going to use it to try and deal with Jingwei? Or do you lock something like Cern, Neve on her, and just, have a traditional ADC to battle up against Jingwei? I mean, if I'm Tegvir and I saw the crits that I just got to do last game, I'd be like, okay, hold up. Being a carry is kind of fun. Maybe I do just want some auto attack damage. We'll have to see if that's something Food Drive looks at. Again, Bacchus is gone. Ymir is gone. As far as supports go, you could just take that Fenrir, or you could look towards something like the Athena. That is still definitely an option here for Food Drive. But at the very least, we know Globe's got his lock in, right? He is surely taking out Hekate. That's the only thing I'm locking in here for certain.
Yeah, it's the only thing really safe for Food Drive up to this point, as we do still wait on those last 2 picks. I'm gonna be my stickler for a traditional ADC for Tegvir. I followed Tegvir for a while. I've seen Tegvir play solo. I've seen Tegvir play jungle. So the Susano, that type of pick, it's comfortable. I just don't know if it matches up well enough into Zapman, who's going to just do that traditional ADC farm. With the Loki lock-in, it seems like we can be a little more confident on where that Susano is going, followed up by a Mordred. So quite the selection for Food Drive for Globe that Trelly's certainly going to dive deep on. Last one for Scrumptious coming out. Does this confirm the jungle? Nog's been doing that quite a lot. This last pick will inform us of that.
Yeah, it looks like Fenrir support, Hekate mid, Susano ADC, Loki jungle, Mordred solo. Pretty typical, but yeah, looks like Haddix actually takes the Anubis into solo, give Nog the Chalk jungle, and then you let Shinto play the Nuwa. Not a bad look, to be honest with you. I really do like this comp from Scrumptious. The issues, of course, are can Anubis survive? If you asked me last patch, I would have said a definite no. Because we have a little bit more information now, we've seen some of these changes. We've seen Typhon's Fang looking kind of clean as a starter. It's possible. I mean, there's a lot of dive. That is what Food Drive for Globe has. They have Fenrir, Susano, Loki, Mordred. They say go. They're going to dive. But what did we notice last time when you have things like Susano ADC is that the tanks look real clean. And Scrumptious has a lot of them, right? The Chalk is going to be tanky. We know the Anubis is going to be tanky. And of course, Ymir is going to be tanky. So a traditional auto attacker would help shred through some of those tanky targets. But that's not what Food Drive for Globe has.
The Nuwa, I'm excited to watch. We haven't gotten to see a lot of it. It was competitively banned last weekend, one of the first looks we've gotten to see. And combined with the Anubis, and this is something that I kind of saw, simpleton brain, what I locked in on instantly. I said, okay, Anubis this morning in EMEA was playing frontline lockdown. Not how anybody is accustomed to seeing Anubis, but it worked out really well. if you combine the lockdown of Anubis, the lockdown of Ymir, with the sort of irritation that Nuwa brings to the map right now, with the way the minions feel to play against her clay minions, it can really cause trouble for the team fights that Food Drive might try to go through with. And I feel like it slows down the Susano and Loki as well, Trelly.
It definitely does. You have to get to a point where you're doing more damage than these assassin type characters are doing to you. There's definitely a point you'll reach as a Nuwa or as an Anubis where Susano and Loki show up to you and you go no, and you just drop your damage and you're like, okay, whoa, okay, I didn't realize you could swing like that. I'm not just gonna dive you carelessly anymore. The issue is you don't start at that point, right? You have to build to it. Susano, Fenrir, Loki come out of the gate ready to 1v1 these mid laners, so you got to watch out for that. Again, I want to see how this Anubis is building, because so far I've seen a lot of like Genjis, a lot of like tankier starts, and you're up against 4 physicals and a Hakate. So it's going to be heavy into the physical defense here if you are trying to get tanky. And traditionally the physical defense items are great, but they're not going to help you with, you know, your damage too much. So Anubis might have a little bit of a fall off period there. We'll have to see how the late game goes. It's going to be about getting there though. Scrumptious has a tremendous late game with the Jingwei, with the Nuwa, with the Anubis at level 20, but they got to get there. They have to, you know, sort of weather the storm, and that's what they did in game number 1, right? They got Zapman late game. This Jingwei was popping off, and they were like, good, we've done it. They're gonna have to do that again in game number 3.
And for Food Drive for Globe, we kept talking about them wanting to make their names known, really establish who they are, and that they can compete with some of these teams that are the favorites coming into Founder Series. In Game 2, they showed they can do it, but Game 3, against what seems like more of the best of Scrumptious and less like any non-traditional picks, this is your moment to prove it if they can move on to the 2-0 side of the Swiss bracket. Let's see if they can do it and head into game number 3 between Scrumptious and Food Drive for Globe. Malum, Trelly, and Doug to bring you all that action. Relics wise, we're back to the shells. We had the sort of excursion back to Aegis and Sunder, but at least for Food Drive, they said, all right, we bring the shells back.
I mean, I want to see how Happen and Tegvir play this duo lane as well. Like, you got not a lot of wave clear, and once again, Tegvir going with the Warriors X start, so you can't really count on Bluestone getting the job done for you. And Ymir brings about as much pressure as you can ask for over into a duo lane. So is it a kill lane? Yes. Does it clear the wave quickly? Not so much. Another something to note, Rongyu continues to go back to that Sunder, whereas Happen just picks up the Phantom Shell. Might see a little bit of a scrap over here on the right side of the map. No invade to happen. Just Haddock spots this one out immediately. I wonder though, does Rongyu get aggressive? Does he try and steal something?
Susano not to the purple buff yet for Food Drive. We'll get there in time. Happen lurking, and a blue buff lurk from Karmic and Valo. Look a bit to the bush. Might have been seen there by Nog. Does appear that was the case, which means Haddox is aware as well. So the dance around the Chaos side blue begins. Karmic steps up. Some damage onto Nog early. A lot, matter of fact. There's damage back from Loki. Can they find the kill, though? No, they cannot. They've only TKO'd Nog, at least for the moment. They'll turn their attention to red, and Haddox will head the lane.
Looks like Nog was going to chill for a second, but didn't end up doing so. So yeah, the invade will go through, at least for now. Unfortunate. Tegvir taking a lot of damage as well. This is kind of what I was talking about. Rongyu and Zap should be getting the better end of this wave clear for the time being, like until level 3 for sure. Once you get some more abilities under your belt, that's when the Susano ADC starts looking a little bit better. But this is a good way to stunt what Shinto and Haddox want to do by invading the red and the blue like they did. So Food Drive for Globe started great just by, you know, again, it's not going to help in the farm department, but it will stop that aggression over in your side lanes. You can't clear the wave quite as easily without those buffs.
So much emphasis on this Susano ADC. It's hard for me to not look at it and make it my entire focus. I don't know. I'm still not a believer in it. I know Tegvir can do it, but I guess this will be the laning phase where maybe we become true believers. Some damage out towards Scrumptious, but no commit once again. Not getting aggressive in the jungle of Food Drive, and we'll get the speed away. So no Pathfinder buff this time for Valo.
A little bit of a 1v1 in the jungle, but I've said this a lot about the jungle in particular. Not much of a threat. Haddock's taken a lot. Does have to blink out of trouble. No sort of regen there. Started the blink. Only has 1 health pot to his name, so you're not going to see a lot of lifesteal come from this Anubis, at least for the time being. And Karmic should always get the better end of Anubis in lane up until like level 5. Then maybe Haddock can fight back with the ultimate. That's really about it. And I'm in the same boat as you. Hold that thought. A lot of damage on this Zapman. One more auto will do it. Can they find it?
Yeah!
In. Yes, they can.
Believers rise up. First blood goes to Susano ADC.
So as I was about to say, I'm not in the same boat as you. I actually believe very heavily in Tegvir and the Susano ADC. But again, it was never a question of how good is the early game of Susano ADC. It was always a question of, can you outpace Zap? Can you make sure he doesn't get online? Can you shut him down? And in game number 1, it was no. Game number 2, great start. First blooding Zap, giving it to Tegvir. That's exactly what you want to see from the Susano. Question is, does Tegvir stay in lane and just like keep trying to 1v1? Or does he rotate around fights? Globe, a little bit threatened by a level 4 Chalk. Has to use the ultimate. Zap in some trouble again. Oh, save that dash for the pull. Smart man is going to head right back to base after this purple buff, but just goes to show exactly how much DPS Food Driver Globe has into a Jingwei.
I love that call from you, potentially. I have to wait. It happens to lurking in purple. Does get frozen. Brutalize is back aggressive. Have a dash in from Zap, a jump away, and Happen will be okay. I really think that if Tegvir pivots to almost a second jungle of swords, uses a teleporter a lot to rotate around, we could see the Susano be even more effective. Ultimate out from the Mordred, finds 2. This could be huge setup for Food Drive. Is there enough damage there? No, Stormcall gonna slow it down. No picks quite yet. Food Drive can't find it. Karmic looking. We'll get it with Valo. The decoy damage is enough, and Shinto goes down.
Oh, Zapman stunned. Does the Brutalize have the damage to finish the kill? No, it does not. Continuous aggression on all fronts from Food Drive for Globe. And that was an invade. I thought Shinto pathing aggressively told me they were trying to collapse, and they did try to collapse, but they just did not have the damage. Haddock still sitting at level 4 is not good. Finally takes over to level 5. Do you have the damage to go for the eyes? You do, but not enough to find the kill. I wanted to see a death gaze down, and that is not enough. Kill Karmic. And with that ultimate down for a while, and Haddock's going blink as a starter, we might see another gank over towards solo lane from Valo. No CC immunity available would be the call. Ragnarok available, picks up Wrong You. Do we have a kill onto the Ymir? Should be, yes.
A little bit slow, but they do manage to pull it off, and they did buy the ultimate out from Wrong You as well. 3 total kills for Food Drive in this early game, which it can't be understated how important that actually is. Because remember, despite game 2 going to Food Drive, and game 1 us talking about the sort of dominance that Scrumptious had around the midway point of the game, the early game didn't look great then either. So neither game 1 nor 2 did Food Drive figure it out until the later and later we got. Different vibe this game. Maybe it's the confidence, maybe it's the selections, Trelly, but it feels different.
I mean, Food Drive for Globe just won a 55-minute banger in game number 2. So yeah, I can see why they brought the energy immediately. They've got a swagger in their step. They're feeling confident in all lanes at the moment. Valo's been hovering around mid, just wants to go for the speed buff, but also wouldn't mind putting some damage into Shinto whenever possible. This Loki is another one of those picks for Food Drive that just wants to get online. Globe taking a lot of damage, does teleport in. Sorry, teleport out, I should say. Opens the gates immediately. That's one of the benefits of Okate. If you ever feel like you're in trouble, just hold out, man. The teleporter will be your saving grace.
The attention on to Zapman continues, does force out the Phantom Shell. And both leave Zapman alone. Soul lane struggles continue. Haddock's focused out. The gaze can't find Karmic in time. And Valo gets it, and Karmic gets away with it. New ult.
Wow.
Doesn't kill. 81. Okay, it tickled. My bad.
Yeah, that didn't even get close to killing. I can't believe one more tower shot didn't come Karmic's way. I'm sure Haddock feels the same way. I've spoken to great detail about how little damage the Typhon's Fang start does, but we'll see how much damage Nog has because he's not doing too much.
Bellow,
Body
Blinks, cut off, damage. Got him. Later.
And he vanished. And they're not done that, man. He picked up so much damage coming through, but Zap goes aggressively. He wants to fight this?
Pull back in, Phantom Shell out. It's good. It's enough to bring down Wrong-You. Can they get Zapman too? Does it continue for Food Drive? Not quite. Zapman able to walk and jump away. But Food Drive, that's 6 kills in 7 minutes. On Scrumptious. It doesn't compute.
So far, it's been confusing. It's off their aggression. Why not a little bit more? Is there anyone even close to go in for a steal? It looks like no. First Gold Fury of the game goes to Food Drive for Globe. Valo gets the last hit, all off of overwhelming aggression in the duo lane. 2 kills for Happen, 3 kills for Valo. This is just ridiculous, man. I got my eyes on the Loki. Where will he go next? Because wherever there is, blood will soon be spilled. I mean, Zapman is trying his best. He's surviving. I just can't believe that they were ulting in for a second there. It seemed like Wrong-You got the call to go in, go aggressive. They just don't have the damage to try and return these kills right now. Tegveer is a threat.
I'm looking across, and I'm looking for items. I'm looking to see the things that Scrumptious pulled off in game 1. You know, that it does feel like a memory, but it's close by. It's what will be the turning point in game 1. We kept talking about it being the Jing. Okay, that scared me a bit. Wonder how much it scared Haddix. Maybe not at all. Valor was lurking. Well, I guess that Jingwei just needs the same itemization online, but Trelly, they're doing the thing you asked for way back in game 1. They're beating Jingwei to the punch. How long does that actually last?
At the moment, for a while. I mean, you can just take a look at the itemization. I'm thinking Zap needs Demon Blade and the Executioner before he can threaten anyone, and probably another item before he can actually out DPS in a 1v1 situation. With Demon Blade and the Executioner in a strong front line, Zap's good, right? He's okay in the team fight. But if you're talking about just surviving this dive, yeah, it's going to be, oh, I see them airstrike out. I'm going to be under the tower. I'll fly back in. That process is going to be rinsed and repeated for probably 2 more Fire Giants. I was going to say, this ult would be insane. Like, going under tower into a Typhon thing, Anubis just does not seem smart. Wrong-You zooms himself out of there, has beads, so should be just fine. But do you have enough to get away from the double dive? No, you don't. Tegveer picks up his 2nd kill of the game. 0 deaths, a spotless resume here for Food Drive for Globe.
Every ADC's worst nightmare. There's basically 3 jungles, and the support feels the same burn. Food Drive are just making this composition work across the board. The only thing I guess you could ask for would be continuous objective pulling. I mean, Zapman's still in trouble. A lot of damage pulled back. Auto's there. Typhoon locks it down. A killing spree for Tegveer. And Scrumptious now down 8 kills and 4K gold.
This is a tough one, man. If you're trying to find a kill here,
gotta go. Not
gonna be under this guy, I can tell you that much, because he just ults his way on out. It's gotta be off the back of Nog, but he's Chalk jungle. It takes a bit before Chalk can match with things like Loki, things like Fenrir. Or Susano, I should say. Fenrir also is chunking at this point, though. Because of that, you're kind of just playing on the defensive. And Food Drive for Globe, this is a 9-day difference before their game number 1. They had a small lead in game number 1, but this is starting to grow. They're going to go for Gold Fury off rip. They want to go off port off cooldown. Even with the purification, Wrong-You still has to be threatened by every single Ragnarok that comes his way because he's level 7. Like, it's not even the displacement that's an issue anymore. It's the damage from Happen, from Tegveer, from Valo. I mean, Globe is the only one who's been in any kind of pressure, and he just has to ult out. He's done it twice now. So I think Scrumptious has to just keep farming slowly but surely and playing under the tower, unfortunately, because they can't walk out.
Tegveer just hanging in the brush. It must be an annoying laning phase. I mean, Zapman, you know, Zap passive, patience, a lot there. But you just have to imagine it's annoying to deal with. Big Boy ultimate committed onto Anubis, breaks into the sky. Damage good, but the wrap there to slow things down. Haddix should be good to get away, and is.
Immediately heals back up. Does not have to worry for the time being. But that's the difference. You can't just use As Golub just hands his ultimate out like candy and uses it whenever he wants, really. You can't just use Death Gaze to immune Pursue the Weak because the cooldowns are not even close at that point. Like, Karmic can get his energy back up for the big boy ult in like a wave or two, whereas Haddock is like, I've lost my CC immunity and the only threat of me getting dove under tower. So Haddock just has to keep trying to lifesteal back up. It's working, as you can see. Karmic is eventually going to lose those trades. Finally, they trade with each other. Karmic obviously not liking this. Oh, but the wrap misses. If that wrap connects, we might be seeing at least a shell come through for Karmic, but it doesn't happen. Is there anyone on the side of Scrumptious close by? No. Cannot help. Unfortunately, Haddock does not get a kill under his belt for now. And if anything, the Queen Naga buff goes the way of Food Drive for Globe.
Karmic definitely ran into the Helm of Radiance, paying dividends for Haddocks there. An item we don't see super often. I don't even think we saw it on many of those frontline Anubis we saw earlier on in EMEA, but it is an effective item, especially against the Mordred. You can see stacking it up. It's one of my favorite items, I think, in the game. It's one of those ones that is just, you know, on paper seems a little less. When you actually use it, it can feel really strong.
Great when you're up against a physical solo laner. Does mean that you can hold your own in lane. I wonder, though, when does Haddock start to rotate? Because guess what? Karmic can do it essentially for free. Heads over to left. Gold Fury finally spawned back in. Karmic gonna walk right past that. And this is not a secret that he is here. He wants everyone to know, hey, Gold Fury is what we're after. Wrong you has Sunder nearby. Here comes Pursue the Weak, just on to Zapman mode.
Turned around, look forward, did get wrapped up. Now the airstrike back, Nog over as well. It's going to be Val to turn it around. First kill for Scrumptious goes to Haddocks. Gold Fury still being done this whole time. The claim minions in. Tegveer able to secure it with the Typhoon in the face of Scrumptious. And the call, Food Drive showing some experience, backing away, not trying to force any fights after the gold.
Not bad. Get the confirmation. Go ahead and get yourself the Gold Fury and back on out of there. Definitely a good look. Food Drive for Globe understands how much that they've actually invested in those kills. I wonder, though, do you have the damage to kill Zapman? It seems like that's an easy yes for Tegveer all the while. I mean, Food Drive for Globe, they can do no wrong at this point. Doesn't matter how long they stay. They get the job done. Up, down here. Brutalize is good, but Shinto has plenty of damage to try and keep away the aggression. Food Drive for Globe honestly has been farming quite well, but just doesn't really have the damage. Nuwa needs itemization before she's really chunking. And Book of Thoth and Chronos Pendant, just not enough.
You said it earlier. Globe uses that open the gates like it's candy. And every time we've seen it, it's been for safety, and it's paid off. No deaths for Globe. And it all adds up because you're able to just farm longer, and you're forcing more work out of Scrumptious. And going across, looking at what that work has caused, 2 levels in duo, 4 kills for Tegveer, understandable. The support lead as well, worth noting, 0-3, wrong you so far on that Ymir. And when Fenrir's keeping up with the rest of the team, Trelly, that's so much more damage on top. It makes things like this Pyro even easier to pull because you just have another fully functioning team member in a team fight.
Hey, a runic bomb and happens pocket sounds good to me. Remember, with wrong you having Sunder, you gotta have something that can try and contest it, and the runic bomb will do just that. But a lot of Food Drive for Globe's aggression has been based on, you know, objectives are coming up. Oh, Gold Fury spawning in. Hey, Pyromancer's up. All that down. Might see a little bit of a slub. And you know what? Say what you want about the matchup so far. Yeah, Zap's 0-3. But my man knows how to farm, right? Zap knows how to stay relatively even when he's under this kind of pressure. Same way for Haddocks. Level 15, mirrored. If you want to talk about, you know, big gaps here, it's mostly support 3 levels and jungle 3 levels. Haddocks is even, and Zapman's 2 levels behind, but he's getting his itemization online, right? This Jingwei will be able to approach late game. It's just about how big is that gap in itemization when you get there. And I'm thinking Scrumptious is only good at getting like the reverse picks. They're not going to be getting aggressive anytime soon with how Nog has built. I mean, this chalk is tickling everyone.
Queen Naga up. It's been a pretty big focus point for Food Drive so far. And really both teams throughout this set, we've seen the emphasis on, all right, we grab Queen Naga so we can easily pull the next objective. We'll see if that ends up being the case again. First over is Scrumptious, and it looks like that is the call. A lot of blue converging, and they'll actually get it away from the side of Scrumptious. Wrong you looks like maybe they wanted to call it for the team, but Food Drive for Globe gets there first, and no steal attempt will be there. Instead, Wrong you focusing efforts on Globe. The ultimate there, and Globe will be safe yet again, so it all works out really well for the blue side.
Yeah, it really seems like anytime Globe sees anyone, he just ults out. He understands he's the only one that can realistically die, as long as they get like just walked up into lanes. So because of that, just use ult. You got Chronos Pendant, you got plenty of CDR. Sands of Time will help with that as well. Open the gates, teleport out, and it's been working. And you get to hold on to that Phantom Shell that way. But Gold Fury now touching down, Malum. This is where Food Drive for Globe has been making their mark, and usually off the back of a nice teleport in. That man trying to return some damage. Here comes Vala looking for the ultimate. Can he find it? The answer is yes, but even the squad bead's not going to get you out of trouble.
Anything they can do to bring Zapman down, Food Drive will do it. And they're successful. Gold Fury now up. Was that the call? Kill Zapman, pull Gold Fury, force more fighting. Perhaps for Food Drive. Scrumptious nearby, but no committal from either side quite yet to the big objective.
I wanted to see Karmic teleport over. That's usually been the telltale sign that Gold Fury's coming, is when you see the Mordred hop over to left lane. Because it hasn't happened, tier 1 is what they are after for now. Valo's just spamming abilities for the Tekko Kagi passive. He's got plenty of MP5, so why not? Transcendence will definitely assist for that. But Haddix is here, and Karmic is not. Does that mean Haddix goes for a kill, or is this a Gold Fury attempt? Scrumptious, I mean, they are super far behind, but it doesn't mean they're afraid to pull a Gold Fury.
What happened? Get there in time for the steal. Scrumptious ready. Back up nearby. Shinto is close. Globe, excuse me. On the Hekate. I'm so used to Shinto and Hekate. Big ult. Damage there. Nog still gets gold. Tegveer in. Typhoon out. Zapman gone. Wrongview might be next up for Food Drive for Globe. So they won't get the gold, but they're certainly going to take both kills and be plenty happy with that.
Yeah, I don't think you want to trade 2 for Gold Fury, and it might be more than that. Food Drive for Globe, they may be in a position where they can go in and look towards Fire Giant. I mean, you got Pyromancer, and sure, that's nice, but yeah, I'd be walking a little bit past it, and that's exactly what they do. Shinto does have ult. He can figure out this is happening. I think they already know this is happening. The rest of Scrumptious on the way. The Fire Giant's being looked at, and remember, they don't have any runic bombs actually, so this could be a toss-up.
Food Drive know there's a timer ticking on their team composition. They want to make the most of it. There's the engage from Karmic. Gonna bring one up to the sky already. On the land down, is Haddix gonna survive? No, he's not. Valo gets one. Tegveer gets another to be unstoppable. That means 7 for the Susano. The Fire Giants already at half health, and Food Drive for Globe just do not stop smacking Scrumptious at every turn.
Malum, listen. We both have said some things about this Susano ADC. Are we official believers now? What's our stance? I'll go with whatever you say.
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot with it. See, I feel a little more comfortable still being a little bit of a hater. I'm a believer for this game, sure. I'm being convinced slowly, but like, let me see the W for Food Drive for Globe.
No,
you get the W on it, I'm a bit more sold.
You bring an excellent point because, you know, Siege is still an issue. They don't have ranged auto attack damage to get the Phoenix down. They haven't really had to deal with a tanky target yet because no one
Deathbringer waiting room for Jingwei.
Yeah. And also, at best, it gets a 50% in this set. Like, that's at best. So you know what? I may have jumped the bet, which I don't know about, you know, where you guys went to school, but 50% was still failing where I grew up. So, you know what? I spoke too soon, but 7-0-4 is clean, man. Tegveer's having a heck of a performance. By the way, went Genji's, which is so disrespectful. Like, the person you are laning against does not do magical damage, and Zap just doesn't care. Like, he's like, oh well, nothing I can do about it. Sees someone, airstrike out. That has been the process. Unfortunately, Zapman just cannot contest with anyone on the map. I think he would lose a 1v1 with everyone on the side of Food Drive right now, which, you know, that's unfortunate because guess what? Shinto, one of the top farmed on the map, has 4 full items, level 19. Maybe this Nuwa could be what Scrumptious needs to try and find a leg back into this game because it's 14-1. Does not look too good so far.
Karmic really giving Zapman the hands in mid lane. The AC will simply walk back, but pursue the weak on the way. Zapman sidesteps it. Happen here. They really want the ADC dead, and they're gonna get it. A rampage for Valo. Now the Ragnarok brings back another, and it'll be a double kill for Valo. Food drive for Globe, 16-1. They just cannot be denied so far. This is crazy.
Well, running down mid lane is the call so far. Not having a traditional ADC has not affected their siege. Tier 2 tower is the target, but Phoenix, that's another story. And you walk in. Haddox clears the wave quite well, but can he survive long enough to do so? That might be a kill. Oh, the shell should be enough to keep Happen alive. But again, Phoenix is the target, and it doesn't get done. A good freeze, a phantom shell from Globe gets them out of trouble. This is what we've been talking about, Malum. This is where it's a hard time breaking the base. Runic bombs are going to be necessary. Polynomicons might be necessary here from Globe. Or you just find a wipe. That's the difference maker. So far, Food Drive for Globe wants their third gold fury of the game. Can they grab it? It would help a ton in that siege. Remember, Ancient Fury would be what breaks open at least one Phoenix here for Food Drive, and it's the mid-bird.
Food drive for Globe. Like I'm thinking, I'm almost outsourcing my information now. I'm thinking back to all those games, whether you and I have been on them or one of the other casters, where it's been the new blood to the scene against the more experienced names, and there's always that way back in where something is a mistake. But Food Drive for Globe with another pick onto Zapman, a reverse unstoppable for Zapman. It seems like there will be no mistakes for Food Drive in the near future, at least, but you've got to remain perfect, because what we've seen, Trelly, is teams like Scrumptious, you give them one fight, one small opening back into the game, they will take it, and it's going to be tough to really regain control.
Well, this could be that opening. Karmic. Oh, the body block! He does get blocked! You gotta collapse on this Mordred quickly. He's not taking a lot of damage, but there is really no one else to help. Death Gaze gets used. My goodness, Karmic lived way too long. Left side Phoenix is the target, though. Can anyone get back in time? This is going down very slowly, but the Runic Bomb will finally break the base open. Scrumptious loses their first Phoenix. Food Drive for Globe, 17-2. They lost Karmic, but they finally have a chance to end, and that changes things drastically. Getting a big pick and being able to just break down the base is a lot different than trying to push through Phoenixes. That takes a long time.
Pyromancer added to the list of accomplishments that continue to reign up for Food Drive. Not responded to by Scrumptious in time, but they did turn the corner and find a pick on Valo. That's a lot of gold in pocket to someone who's dangerous, being that Anubis. So +1 bomb that wasn't even picked up. Happen will grab it. That's the kind of thing we were talking about, Trelly. You can't make any mistakes like that. You can't give away picks. You can't give away shutdown gold. You just got to be present of that if you are Food Drive.
Fire Giant started up by Scrumptious this time around. With Valo gone, could be the opening they're looking for. Open the gates, gets no one, but Happen goes to the back line.
Gets stunned out. CC'd, not dead yet. Food Drive staying persistent. Pursue the weak, looking for somebody, anybody. That somebody, Zapman. No more Jingwei, and the Fire Giant let go by Scrumptious. Karmic's fighting the whole world right now, and the Death Gaze is what's enough to bring him down with a little bit of help from Shinto. But Food Drive for Globe, mission accomplished. They stopped the Fire Giant, but what's confusing, Trelly, why were they on the back foot?
Me. Nothing's confusing me.
I'm coming from
you
the
said it's
simple
confusing
perspective.
I'm not confused. I always know what's going on.
Yeah, a guy like
What's confusing, Trelly, is they got one pick, right? They open up the door, and Scrumptious is a team, as you said, that can take an inch and make it a mile, right? They were able to go for that Fire Giant pull, open up a little bit of aggression off of the 4v5. Do they have the itemization to win that fight handedly? No, but they do have the itemization to find a pick if you give it to them like that. Haddox is getting more damage online. Shinto's absolutely chunking. The only issue, really, it was that man, and he just finished up Deathbringer. So this Jingwei is going to start hitting hard as well. Beautiful damage there. Haddox goes in for the ult. Not the place you want to be. Why did Haddox walk up?
Tegveer alone, able to get the dash away before Chalk could find him. Happened, plenty tanky enough, and Queen Naga continues by Food Drive for Globe, and they will grab it. A very confusing circumstance. I'm right there with you. Just like we're talking about the mistakes of Food Drive being that team that is a little bit less familiar. I mean, the same rules apply to Scrumptious. Despite being behind, you can't give away anything like that for free, especially if that something is your way back into the game, and one of the biggest which being Haddox.
Well, can get a little bit tankier, but Fire Giant is the target. Food Drive for Globe have all the advantages in the world. Haddox gone for 18. This is going to go down slowly, and Scrumptious is on the way. Nog already here, wants to try and engage, and there goes Carmack to the back line.
Instantly finds that Chalk, brings him down, so gone. Tegveer's got Shinto. Food Drive for Globe are doing it at the Fire Giant, and they're looking so clean. Another one, a double kill for Tegveer. Perfect time to be Divine is around the fire. It will go around the belts of Food Drive. What can stop them now?
I mean, all that was able to stop them before was Phoenix's, and finally, they have the 5v2. That man and Haddox, are they going for a wraparound play? This could be an end call. 17 seconds without Nog, 25 without the rest. Mid Phoenix is the target already. Minions on the Titan because of left lane. It's going to go down slowly. Do you think you have the damage to end is the question. Food Drive for Globe, they're posted up. They think they do.
Here we go. Nog up. Wrong you at 5. Titan started. Down to half. Food Drive in. Talisman out to try to keep things going. Will that Titan go down? Can Food Drive do it? Yes, they can! Scrumptious get sent lower in the bracket. Food Drive for Globe. 2-0.
My goodness, man. Tegveer on the Susano. He knew that this pickup could shut down the Jingwei. Didn't happen game number 1. Did absolutely happen in game number 2. And by the way, you know, we were skeptical about the Susano ADC. I'm not sure I'm sold on the Anubis solo either, right? Like, again, you got to remember, Food Drive for Globe come with a great strategy of let's invade red, let's invade blue immediately. Haddox is not getting a buff, Shinto's not getting a buff. And because of that, it's put the solo lane off to a little bit of a slow start. Haddox could still fight back in. But the duo lane in particular, man, Rongyu and Zap, they lived under tower, and that is not what you want. That is how you shut down a Jingwei and not let her get those massive crits, not let her get that crazy amount of shred online. And I would say Zap never got online, honestly.
I mean, yeah, if this was a traditional sport, there'd be champagne popping in the locker room for Food Drive for Globe right now. That is a big time victory to pick up in the Swiss stage. That is the kind of roster that if you're a team looking to prove yourself, that is the kind of roster you have got to beat. And to do it with something like a Susano ADC, it feels not correct. You know, it feels like there must have been an oopsie somewhere, and you know, there was in play from Scrumptious, but there's no fluke to it. You know, there's nothing to deny that Food Drive for Globe simply played better in that game 3 and simply won the end of game 2 and gets them to this point. And Trelly, that moves them forward in the bracket. 2-0 in Swiss stage is a significant deal.
Right, and that's the other thing. I'm glad you brought it up. If it's a best of 1, you could say, oh, it was a fluke. Wow, we just played a bad game. It's whatever. In a best of 3, you got to upset them twice, and that's exactly what they did. They played the better brand of Smite twice in this situation. So, you know, props to Food Drive for Globe. They have proven that they are a team that needs to be taken seriously, need to be respected. And again, I'm not leaving it all to picks and bans, but clearly they did their homework.
Yeah, to a point that had us both surprised. I feel like we're at a point, and you know, I can't wait to hear the Smite Too Long Didn't Watch. Even though I'm in it, I can't wait to hear the talk of, all right, I mean, we take Food Drive for Globe serious now. What's next on their agenda, Trelly? It's kind of a limitless, the options are limitless for it.
It certainly is. I'd love to see how the bracket shakes out because, you know, there's been a lot of teams that have had heck of a performance so far. Food Drive for Globe gets to be that first team jumping their way over to the 2-0 section of it. you got to expect, hey, if Scrumptious can get upset in a 2-1, hey, watch out for Cowabunga and Secret Service, because Cowabunga, of
Nobody's
course,
safe.
is the team that would be looking towards that number 1 spot, looking real clean as well. So that 2-0 spot, as you said, that's where you want to get. All you have to do to get out of Swiss is one more victory if you get to that 2-0 position.
Of all the teams we could have expected to be speed running to that point of the bracket, I think it's fair to say a lot of the community would not have had Food Drive for Globe at the top of that agenda, but
Right.
here we are now. it's just wild. This is exactly the kind of thing I was hoping for Swiss as well, to see that new blood emerge, and they really have done it. And it's something, again, a team like Scrumptious is something to be proud of. But what's crazy, Trelly, is that's just our first set of the day for NA. By
That
the
is
way, there's
true.
still more to go.
6 o'clock. I think the other set was supposed to start a bit ago. We've had some long sets today, but hey, that's what Swiss brings, is the other thing. Your first round matchups can be pretty jaded, but once you start fighting people with your similar records, they're going to be more intense. They're going to be more competitive, and that's where we are currently. Something to note, it's not as if Scrumptious is out. They've just dropped now to the 1-1 section of the bracket. 3 wins get you out or forward, unless you go to playoffs. 0-3 is when you got to start worrying. So not that big of an issue for Scrumptious. They can easily bounce back, but it does put them starting to get in that danger zone.
Like I said, more to go, more SMITE 2. Did you want some SMITE esports with your SMITE esports? Because we got more SMITE esports. Don't go anywhere. Take a breather. We'll be right back in SMITE game with the next set.